Welcome, everyone, to Bourbon and BS Podcast, episode 93. We are here with Dustin Bovey in the middle chair, hiding behind the box of Little Book. Hopefully,
peeking over the book.
If you like the box in front of him during the podcast, let us know. If you want us to move it so you can see Dustin,
Thumbs
let us
up.
know that also. And then we also have Austin Hartley. He's the guest tonight. Austin, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me tonight.
Absolutely.
I feel like
It was a pleasure, man.
I feel like a celebrity.
Is that my mic?
You should.
Perfect. Every time.
Yeah.
A few technical difficulties.
I'm going to go ahead and start sharing it. We encourage you guys to do the same. So in the meantime, Nate, if you don't mind letting them all know the sponsors and everything else.
Yeah, so episode 93 is brought to you by first sponsor, Tinderbox at Easton Town Center, Columbus, Ohio, for providing the Kristoff Criollo that we're going to be smoking tonight. Next sponsor is Altadis USA, providing this week the Montecristo White Series Churchill. And third sponsor is BS Cigar Company. We still got the BS Silver in stock, and golds are looking like January. It's coming in.
Yeah, that's right, January.
Yep. And tonight we're going to be drinking the Little Book Chapter 1 that was provided to us by our guest, Austin, and we'll get into that. So for those of you that are listening, tell us what you're drinking, what you're smoking, on the live feed at least. Don't be listening to this in the car and drinking and driving. That's not a good combination. Let us know what you're smoking. Let us know what you're drinking. Dustin, Austin, how's your guys' week going?
Well, it's been pretty good. I don't know about you, Austin.
Just swell.
Swell.
Grand. I'm here. Happy to be here.
Good.
A little tired. I was telling Steve earlier. It was a long day yesterday, but
What is it?
Should be a good night tonight.
Well, we'll probably dive into it again when we start the audio. But what is it that you actually do?
So I work for the GOAT, which is owned by Lifestyle Communities. I'm a senior kitchen manager, so I kind of oversee all the managers within the company. My home base is the New Albany GOAT right now, so I'm kind of just based out of there, running that store, training people.
Very nice.
The whole
Just down the road.
just down the road. Yeah, it's not far
Nice.
from here.
Well, it's glad to have you here. Really glad to have
Pleasure
you
to be here.
here. Yeah, man.
I feel like I've really made it.
The week's been pretty good. Worked all week. I'm off for the weekend. Taking the little one to go see Polar Express up in Akron.
Nice.
They do a train ride every year, and they've gone the past few years, and I'm going to take her again this year. Should be a lot of fun. Pretty excited for it. Be the first time I go. So
It's exciting.
Well,
Talk
you
to
s-
everyone what they're drinking and everything.
Yeah.
Facebook is
So-
being fun again.
So what's everyone smoking and drinking tonight?
There you go.
We're doing Little Book Chapter 1, which we'll get into that a little bit here once we start the audio. But Kylie, I know you were anxiously waiting for us to start with everyone at the shop. So I'm sure there's a few beverages there: water, Gatorade, Monsters, Solo cups of some sort. What's everyone smoking tonight, at least, if they're not drinking anything? So please tune in. Let us know what you're doing. The topic
I
tonight
cannot
is
share this at this point.
And don't forget to share, even though Steve's
Yes.
having plenty of issues with that.
Are you trying to share to groups?
I was trying to share to my page and it wasn't working.
I did it as a post and it allowed me to do it. Nope. Just came and said error loading.
There you go. See?
Oh.
Facebook is great, as always. We appreciate you, Facebook. If you're listening, we don't want you to kick us off. We want to play nice, but this is really fun. Hey, he's a very nice man, I think. A little weird, but
Well, everyone bear with us if for some reason Facebook decides to kick us out. We will jump back on and try an alternate route, which has been working for us every other time.
all right, let's roll.
I think Leo put something in my drink.
Fuck it.
Do a tap with a glass.
Oh, you going to do that? All right, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah. Happy Thirsty Thursday, everyone. Welcome to the Bourbon and BS Podcast, episode 93. We are I'm loud. Well, I'm excited about this. So
Should be.
go fuck yourself. No, we're going to be talking about making it work, which is what we're trying to do with the Facebook Live right now. So if you're listening to the audio only, you can check us out. It's going to be Wednesdays going forward at this time. We might have a couple of changes throughout December just because it's a busy holiday season for us in the cigar industry. But next week we're going to have Miguel on from Crowned Heads, and so we're looking forward to that. That'll be Wednesday the 20th. Nice. If you guys want to check us out on Facebook Live and join the conversation like some of you are right now on Facebook Live. We want to thank our sponsors for the audio here. We've got Tinderbox at Easton that have provided the Kristoff Criollo, which is the original, and then also for the support. And then Altadis USA, we've got some Montecristo White Series Churchills on the table or around the garage here. And that's going to be the second cigar. May not smoke the whole thing unless we are in good conversation. That's a lot of cigar there.
That's a lot of cigar right there.
But that is our second one from Altadis USA. So thank you very much, Altadis, for supporting us. And then also BS Cigar Company. I had one on before the podcast here, and BS Silver. Check that one out. It is available in 3 sizes. So thank you, BS Cigar Company, for the continued support as well. And then welcome all of you guys listening. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to make an announcement. First of all, sharing is the best part of it. We're doing this. It's a hobby. It's something that we like doing. We have some good support, but we have reached into the world of Patreon, so there'll be some details coming forward with Patreon. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's a way for you guys to help support us and keep this going. And having less and less money coming out of our pocket to do this every week, because bottles of whiskey, whether they're from guests or if they're from the crew here, they are definitely going to be. It's just
it racks up.
It costs some stuff.
It costs, yeah.
And
it costs a little bit.
There's only so many bottles you can get for like $30-$40, and then you start doing like we're doing tonight, which is a gift from Austin. So Austin, thank you very much. It's
a very gracious gift.
Yeah, Little Book, Chapter 1, 2017 release. This is a limited release, not available anymore. I want to say we can get to it, but suggested retail on that one.
I think I paid $90 for it.
Yeah, I was going to say 80, 90, somewhere in that range. So again, it all adds up. So stay tuned for details on all of that. We appreciate.
A few more difficulties.
We appreciate, and so some of that extra Patreon support might help us get another mixer board as well. So we're having some issues with the mixer board. You got to stay on your toes, and I think I might have to start taking that inside for the winter. That might be not helping it either. We'll figure that out. I'm not an electronics expert, but it makes sense.
I'm sure cigar smoke's not very good for it either.
Prove it. And that's Nate Hale on the soundboard, so he is going to be helping us out with that, as always. And then also kind of he's on the fourth mic as well. So if you guys are listening to the audio, we haven't really said it, but what are you smoking? What are you drinking? And what are you guys talking about? There's a good way for you to contribute to the conversation if you are an audio listener, and that is through the community page. So the community page is on Facebook as well. So if you guys are on Facebook and can't check the live or watch the video all the time, there is a Bourbon and BS community page. So if you want to join that, look it up. It's we got links all over the place, but it's something that you guys can post pictures of what you're doing, what you're smoking, what you're drinking, who you're doing it with, and just kind of share your life with everyone in the community and continue the conversation. So we've got over 300 members so far in the first few weeks. So that's a good response.
That's fantastic.
It's getting it's gotten action. So that's good.
There's been a lot of posts too, which is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of participation, and also you'll see some pictures on the Bourbon and BS podcast page, community page, and elsewhere, Instagram, Bourbon and BS podcast, from Kyle Smith, who is no longer Content Kyle. He is Kyle B. Smith Photography on Instagram. Much longer, not quite as catchy, but definitely
a little more formal.
Yeah, formal.
Yeah.
He's dressed in a nice tuxedo today in the garage, which is nice. We appreciate that. Going formal for us.
Got the pinstripe down the pants.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a good look for you.
Yeah.
Nothing like rocking J's in a tuxedo.
Rocking J's in a tuxedo. I think there's a rap song about that. Anyway.
Anywho.
I say we just dive right into it. Let's talk about it. So with the whiskey, the little book, and we can move that for the video viewers here if you want to move the box so I can see your pretty face, Dustin. Not in front of Austin. You can take it off the table.
I mean,
Well, it's a
We want
great
viewers,
presentation.
or-
Great presentation.
It is.
Sit right here if you want.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's fine.
So, Austin, if you could tell us a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit about what you, and we'll get into who you are for the audio listeners as well. But with the little book, to dive right into the whiskey, tell us where you got it, what about it, what you know about it.
So I actually got this from a friend who picked it up. I don't know where he got it, but this was right when it came out, so 2017, I believe. I just basically gave him the $90 for it. That's what he paid. It was fair deal. And basically it just sat on my shelf at home with my collection since then, just kind of waiting for a time to be broken open.
And you
Louder.
chose tonight.
I chose tonight, yeah.
I like that.
Very nice. Appreciate that, man.
How many
Really
bottles?
appreciate
So you got a lot of bourbon people out there. How many bottles would you say you have in your collection?
Ooh, 60-ish?
Wow. That's healthy
60-ish, I say.
or unhealthy.
Give or
depending on who you ask, I guess.
Most are open.
Yeah.
I have a few that aren't. Just, again, waiting for that right time for them to be broken open.
Sounds about like my collection.
Yeah.
I like when someone says, like, I'm all for the fact that, you know, some people have collections that they have backups or they have the rare bottles that they don't really want to open, like this one, unless you're doing a special occasion or a podcast that's not as much of a special occasion, but we appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
a special occasion.
Yeah, it's a
Treating it
special
like
occasion.
that.
I mean, anytime somebody wants to drink it, I think that's a special occasion to me.
I like that. But I like having like a collection where most of the bottles are open. You know what I mean? Unless you have just a huge collection, but something that you've actually you're not just collecting for the bottles or to, you know, like have something you can sell at some point, but it's something that you're already enjoying, and sometimes you can actually save it to share it with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the way I feel with bourbon. I mean, it should be shared. I don't ever resell it. I don't do secondary flips. I'll do trades with my friends. I'll give it to them at cost if they don't have it. But I don't sell in the secondary market. I think it's there to drink and share, and just a matter of when and where.
I agree. You know, I think, you know, my collection's grown exponentially over the time that I got into bourbon, courtesy of Jake and Steve. And I remember my younger brother was talking to me at one point and goes, "So exactly how many bottles do you have?" I said, I don't know, 40 or so. It was just a rough estimate. And so curiosity got the better of me. And the next day I got up and was around the house and was like, I'm just going to count just for shits and giggles. And
You said that wrong.
Shits and giggles.
to each their own. But I started counting and I stopped when I hit 70.
Wow.
This was also about 6 months ago.
Where are you at now? More or less?
Probably 80.
Wow.
80?
You can drink more.
Well, I say that, but at least 50 of them are open.
Okay.
At least, if not more.
You need to have more
And-
house guests.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is very true. This is very true.
That's what I think, at least. I don't know.
But I have,
That's
you know,
just
those special bottles that either, you know, I'm not open or I'm saving for a special occasion. Or certain special bottles are only for certain occasions.
Sure.
You know, I have a bottle of 2014 Old Forester birthday bourbon that I splurged and made that purchase.
How much did you pay for that?
I plead the fifth.
No, go on.
Was that a secondary Okay.
Yes,
Heard.
that was a secondary purchase. So all the bourbon nerds out there can probably have a rough estimate of what that value is. But that bottle is only
Those that
open
Don't. What would you say that is?
That's not bad, actually.
just over 4 Benjamins. Yeah.
It's funny that you brought. Sorry, not to interrupt. The birthday bourbon. I was in New York in the springtime. I think it was in Soho, and I was at a liquor store, and there was a birthday bourbon. It wasn't last year's, the year before. It was 2 or 3 years old. I'm like, how much is that birthday bourbon? He's like, $2,000. I'm like, why?
$2,000?
Why?
Right.
Yeah, why?
Right.
It's gonna sit there for another 5 years. I mean,
Yeah, and then he's going to bump the tag up even more.
Well,
until
tonight in Ohio was the birthday bourbon release.
yes, it was
Today.
2019. Yeah.
It's a $100 bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I keep that bottle, and it's only open once a year on St. Patrick's Day at 10 p.m. because that's the date and time that my daughter was born.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's the year that she was born as well. So, that it holds a special place in my heart for that. So, and then I have other bottles that, mean a lot to me. And then there's other bottles that I cherish that, I would love having other people try.
Right.
Someone, a friend come over and, well, they've never tried this. And so I crack it open and I pour them on and try it.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Austin, what else do you know about this little book? Other than you got it from a friend, which is good. Again, they sold it to you at retail, basically.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, honestly. This is the first
Fair.
time. It's the first time I'm trying it. I think Chapter 3 just came out this year.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had Chapter 2 or Chapter 3. This is the first for this guy. Other than that, it's a blended straight whiskeys, 4 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's 4. Dustin, you know this off the top of your head, or you want me to?
So it's a blend of whiskeys.
You're being tested right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
So Fredno actually created this. He saw barrels of a rye whiskey, a malt whiskey, and a corn whiskey laying around, and those ingredients being the ingredients of a mash bill for bourbon, he thought, why not blend them together and see if it tastes like bourbon? It did not. So he fiddled around with it some more, and then decided to add a 4th barrel, which was bourbon, and found that the taste profile of it was phenomenal. And so he fiddled with it some more, and this creating Little Book Chapter 1, a.k.a. the Easy. I can't remember off the top of my head the percentages, but the bourbon was around 4 years old. Mm-hmm. The rye was about 13 years old.
That was the corn.
That was the corn.
Yep.
The corn was 13.
Yep.
The rye was, I believe, roughly 6 years old. And the malt...
You know this. You know this.
I think it was about 4 again, wasn't it?
6.
Ah.
So, review. 4-year bourbon. Yeah, that's good. That's good. 13-year-old corn whiskey, and then 6-year 100% malt whiskey, and then the 6-year was a high rye. Is the way I read it. And anything that I looked up... Anything I looked up, it did not have the percentages in this one that I could find.
Yeah.
They're not really releasing that.
I don't recall seeing a percentage at all. I think the name of it, Little Book, was really cool too.
Do you know what I read on that?
So my knowledge is Little Book was actually Fredno's nickname by his father, Booker No.
Who was a grandfather, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was the grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. So you got Freddie No and the grandfather. I can't recall the name of the grandfather.
I can't recall
the
grandfather, but his father was Booker No, was well known master distiller from Jim Beam.
Yeah, still is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a good point to bring up too. This is a Jim Beam product. We've talked about it before, where like Jim Beam, Jack Daniel's, some of these other major products you see on every bar shelf and every liquor store. That over time it's gotten a bad name. I mean, like in a sense, like it's like Miller Lite, Bud Light, any of these like big boys or whatever. And they come out with this stuff and like Booker's, Little Book, these special ones that they don't get the recognition that they're coming from Jim Beam.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's these guys know what they're doing.
Oh,
they
yeah,
just
absolutely.
have some heavy hitters when it comes to everyday whiskeys. And I think that it's sad that happens, but I get it. I mean, the cigar world is much the same way. Again, like there's a lot of people that are into more like the boutique stuff, the smaller cigar stuff, and then you said like tonight our second cigar is going to be a Montecristo White Series, which is a fantastic selling cigar. It's a fantastic
That's one of my
cigar,
favorites.
and it's a lot of people's favorite. But a lot of people will not necessarily buy them off the shelf because they're past it. You know what I mean? They've gone beyond it, and then Altadis will put out something killer from Montecristo, like the Espada right now, and the Espada Oscuro, which we've had on the show recently, and they may or may not touch it because it's a Montecristo, because of the name on there.
Right.
Even though it's coming from different fields, different factories, and everything else. So
Is that because it's not a Montecristo Cuban? Because when I think Montecristo,
we're definitely having some weather issues with the board here. Go ahead.
when I think Montecristo, I think Cuban, and
Yeah. And that's part of it too. You're right. I mean, it's something where, again, it's the namesake and it's people's thought process of what it is. So with this, I think this is something that when I saw even Booker's the first time on the shelf as I was getting into whiskeys a little bit more, I had no idea it was Jim Beam. And they don't
Neither
really
did I.
say it a whole
Yeah, they
lot
don't.
on there. You have to really look it up. And you see Freddie No, has the script on there as far as like a somewhat of a signature on there. But you have to look at the fine print. And it's interesting because it says distilled and bottled by James B. Beam Distilling. So even though they church that up too.
Right. James Beam.
James Beam. I wonder if they're related to Jim Beam.
Maybe.
But what do you guys think? I mean, it's how much? What's the proof on this?
128, I believe.
Yeah,
128.2.
2. Yeah, 128.2 on that. So
It's a little on the toasty side.
it's a
It's
it
toasty.
helps. It helps. Yeah. So what do you think, Austin? This is the first time drinking it, right?
First time.
Okay.
It's good. I mean, it's got a little heat on the back end for sure. It reminds me of other, Booker's products as far as that, that high percentage of alcohol, but still it's smooth. I think it's smooth.
Definitely has a little bit of a burn,
Yeah.
though. I tell you.
I don't think it has those bourbon notes like you normally find, like the caramely, oakish, if you
I
will.
think the malt blend in it kind of dampers
Maybe,
that a little
yeah,
bit.
cuts through that. Still good though. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think it's definitely unique. I think it's got a very unique characteristic to it. I'm trying to figure it out what it is.
I get a lot of oakiness from it. A little bit of sweetness. The finish on that, it hits you,
Yeah.
but it dissipates.
Yeah.
Like I think it kind of explodes in my mouth and across my
Don't say
palate.
things like that.
I thought you enjoyed that. No.
I do not.
I think.
Okay.
I think.
Hard
Yeah,
pass.
I think it has a medium finish. It's not too long, but I mean, I think it's good.
It's a medium finish. It dissipates, but it still coats my palate. It stays around the outer edge of my tongue as far as the taste buds go. And I think some of that, you get that rye spice kind of lingers a little bit, not a whole lot, but I really think the malt plays into it for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Nate, what do you think? You're sipping on it too. You're back there, dancing around the mixer board.
Yeah, I'm having fun back here with this thing. I get sweetness right at the very front, and the way it just kind of coats the very tip of my tongue and even my upper lip when I'm sipping on it. It's got like a buttery, smooth, and sweetness to it. It's
Buttery.
really weird.
Like a caramel.
Yeah, yeah.
I get like a
little bit.
caramelized oak.
I swear to God, if we say butterscotch,
So let's talk about Werther's.
Is it kind of like a Werther's?
Yeah, we
All right.
you've
talked
heard that
about that
episode.
Yeah, I heard.
I had a friend actually message me on Instagram and said something about she's like, so my coworker, I told her about the podcast and she was like fast forwarding to listen to a little bit of it, and she's like, this is really important to me. I need to know what your thoughts are on Werther's. And I said, are you serious? She's like, yes, I'm serious. I need to know what you think. And so I gave her an honest answer about the whole they're great, but typically it's like the elderly that have them. It's like,
it's
if
associated with the elderly.
they're warm, it's because they've been in Grandpa's pocket too long.
She has
you know
a
what I mean?
drawer of Werther's, doesn't she?
No, but she said she actually is just like, exactly. Thank you so much. You're right on point. I was like, well, all right. I'm glad I helped your day progress there. That's perfect. But yeah, no, I don't think it's got Werther's in this one.
No, and I'm not picking up any fruit notes either, like we have in previous
No,
bourbons that we've had. No dark fruits or berries or anything like that. And I think that plays a lot into the aged rye.
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, I'd be interested to see actually, because it's like when you look at the mash bill, which is anything else, which is the corn, the rye, it's got the malt in there, and I'm trying to pick some of that stuff out. Like when I'm I don't know, and that's just me. It's like when I'm thinking about corn, what the corn should taste like. It's like, oh, now I get corn in this sip, and then I take another one. I'm like, oh, I get a little bit of that rye, some spice, a little bit more of that. But I don't know if that's the heat. I don't know if that's
It changes every time you take a sip.
I think the rye's on the end for me.
It's on the
With
end?
that spice, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of that. Has anyone out there on Facebook Live, have you guys had this before? Any of the little books, but especially this, the Easy, the Chapter 1, because, again, you can't get it now, but it's nice that we're able to do this type of a whiskey that is unique and no longer available. And John Belly says, as long as nothing's exploding in your mouth. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I agree completely.
I need
what else?
to broaden my vocabulary.
I think mouthfeel is better than exploding in your mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're right.
But Dustin, whatever you're enjoying, that's like
I need
fine.
to start reading a Webster's, and a thesaurus.
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 What is a synonym for exploding in my mouth? Don't just leave that out completely. Just
I want you
leave it
to
out
ask
completely.
Siri that and
Yeah.
see what comes up.
I doubt it. Austin, what else did you bring? You brought another gift for us to sample as well tonight, I believe.
Yes, sir. So this is the Jefferson's goat pick. So again, I think this was 2017 too, Mayish.
Yeah.
A group of us went down to Kentucky. We had
Say us. You were involved in this.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Did you read the back of the bottle?
I didn't read the back.
Okay.
Can I
My
see
name's
that,
on
please?
it. It's signed.
Here's the bottle reading.
Thank
This
you.
is my humble brag moment coming up.
Story time with Steve Crane.
Story time.
I'm looking here. Go ahead. Keep talking, please.
Yeah. So the owner of the goats in LC, he obviously does a lot of traveling, and he sees in bars, store picks from, wherever that bar may be. Rusty Bucket has a store pick. It was the hot thing a few years ago, and
Still is.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah, absolutely.
Even more so.
Yeah, so he's like, I want this for the goats. Like, I want to do this. So he talks to my boss, who's director of operations for the goats, and it's like, hey, we need to get this. We need to get some bourbon in our goats that we pick out. So we get on a list. It's a waiting list for pretty much every distillery
to go down to do the
pick a
the
barrel. Yeah, you gotta get on
Yeah.
a list. Some are much longer than others. Like Blanton's is 20,000 pages
Right,
long, and
yeah.
Jefferson's is a little shorter. So we got on there. My boss was like one day, "Hey, what are you doing next Wednesday? You want to go down and pick out a barrel?"
A lot of notice. Next Wednesday.
Yeah, a week, which is fine. He's like, "Well, we're gonna fly down the private jet." I'm like,
Whoa,
"I'm
wait.
open. My schedule's
I'm
clear."
pretty sure I'm off.
Whose jet are you on right now?
If not, I will be.
I'm not gonna say his name, but you'll be able to figure it out.
All right.
If you just do a little digging. So 7 of us went down there for the day. Went straight, got picked up. Went straight to Jefferson's. Picked out. I think we had 3 barrels to choose from.
Okay. So you walked in. Did you tell them like what you wanted, or they just are like, "Here's your 3 to pick from"?
I don't know that. I could find out, but off the top of my head.
But when you walked in, it was here's 3.
they were already there. They had a table set up for us.
I got
and,
you.
Here's barrel 1, barrel 2.
So pretty badass.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So all 7 of us, tasted it, and we kind of voted on this guy, and did a little distillery tour. It's a small distillery. I don't know if you've ever been to Jefferson's or not before. It's really, really tiny. One thing cool about it is they have copper pot still from one of the original ones from Old Forester that they got from Old Forester. I got a picture of it. It's pretty sweet. Other than that, it's tiny.
The distillery itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very small.
Do they have it all set up? I mean, like gift shop and all that stuff. Though, I mean, is it like a full blown? I've never been.
Yeah,
So.
gift shop. So, we did the whole tour of the warehouse. So, if you don't know anything about Jefferson's, most of their stuff is bought, and they do a lot of blending.
Sourced, yeah.
Sourced and blended. Very little of their own juice is made in house, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, they still put out good products.
Absolutely.
So we did the tour, and they showed us the crate where they take the Oceans, Jefferson's Oceans barrels out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
So it's a shipping. It's literally a shipping crate that you see on the big ocean liners. We need to go inside it, but that was kind of neat. And we went to the gift shop, bought all the bourbon, and went back home.
So how long did it take to get the Jefferson's pick from the time you went down there on that Wednesday on a private jet?
Ooh, when did we get it
talking
in
about
our
that.
stores?
How many months?
I'm not sure.
Maybe 6 months, a year,
Couple months, maybe.
just like 2-3
3
months.
Yeah, 3.
It's pretty awesome. Do you guys
Yeah.
still have some available?
It's gone. Yeah,
Because that was 2 years ago, right?
yeah. 2017.
How many
Okay.
other picks have you guys done since then?
One. I think we're on a list for Blanton still.
Have you done another Jefferson's or
We did,
What was the other one?
Old Forester, I believe.
Okay,
Nice.
very nice, very nice.
Do you still have that available?
That deal kind of fell through, I think.
Fair enough.
I don't know if I just say much more about that, but I was there for that one. That one didn't pan out. Some kind of legalities.
Okay.
Just getting that because
Getting into the state of Ohio.
Yeah, getting into Ohio. You know how
Yeah.
Ohio's liquor laws are. So
We had the Old Forester. It was interesting. Probably the timing thing, actually. You said Old Forester. So we had a while back, we had two picks that we did a back and forth with. I don't know if you listened to that episode or not with the Old Forester barrel picks. One was that.
it sounds familiar.
One of them was one that
might
Nate
have.
brought, that it was the Ohio pick, and then we also had Eric Black had donated part of that bottle. Yeah, the
Single
Cleveland
barrel.
Co-op.
Yeah, I think I listened to part of it.
And what Eric had told us is that, and this is going back, I think, a year to 2 years, that they actually were the second one to bring in Old Forester single barrel pick because it was Lizardville that did it first and worked through all the legalities of
Yes,
working
I
with
did
bringing
listen-
it in there.
yes.
So that was probably after you guys had tried it, and probably, like you said, it fell through. That might be something that you
Yeah.
know they finally figured out, or enough time had passed, or something had changed in
Possibly.
the
This
the
was
laws.
I think this was 2018.
So it's probably around the same time.
Right around the same time. Yeah.
Came out late 2018. Cleveland or the Lizardville? Cleveland. And so Lizardville was a couple months before that. So, you know, who knows? But that's interesting. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm
That's
looking
still an
forward to trying it.
experience that I would love to be a part of at some point in my life. Would be
A barrel pick.
Yeah, just be a part of picking a barrel.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah. So before we get to that, what do you guys are smoking the Kristoff Criollo,
Right.
which is a seed strand. So that's going to be where they get the name. That's going to be the wrapper leaf. This is Kristoff's first major cigar that Glenn Case, the owner, did, and it is. What do you guys think of this cigar? Before I go into details,
I think it's really great. I really enjoy it. I
Okay.
really do.
Austin, what do you think?
I like it. I'm not good on my cigar notes as you
That's
guys
fair.
are.
No, that's fair.
I got a little earthiness out of it. A couple puffs to go. It's about as far as I can go, but I like it. I know when I like a cigar, and I know when I don't, and this one I do like.
You do like?
Oh yeah.
They talk a lot about, like, even on the box, you know, when you read about it, it's like something about, like, there's a lot of nuttiness. And so I'm not an expert on nuttiness, but I don't get a whole lot of that, but that's what they talk about, like almond, and they talk about just nuttiness in general.
Nuttiness.
I could understand. I could kind of
Really?
see that. I get a little bit of spice.
Yeah, I
And
get some
it sounds
spice
weird.
from
It's
it
kind
as
of
well.
like a. It sounds weird, but like not a peppery spice, but a little bit more like a cinnamon spice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not overpowering, but it's just enough bite that it adds to the flavor and the complexity of it.
Yeah.
Did I say earthy?
You did say earthy.
And that's the one word that you don't like.
Is that what you said it? Yeah. So Austin's been listening to the
I
podcast
meant,
before being a guest on here.
Woodsy. It has a woodsy taste.
I
to
like
it.
woodsy better.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but leather I don't really care.
Not
Whatever.
leather.
Anyway,
It's definitely
earthy.
woodsy.
So this one is Glenn Case. For those of you who don't know much about Kristoff, give you a brief summary of how he came to be in this industry. He was in the banking industry for several years. I want to say 18, give or take. I might be making that up, but it sounds right. And so he was getting run down, I guess the story goes. He was getting run down with the corporate world and the banking world and all that stuff. And his wife had actually been in the cigar industry as a broker rep for some time, was doing well. I guess her father had started that or was involved also. He said, all right, well, give this a try. And they continue to grow the broker business, and we're doing so well. And it's that classic scenario where, they were doing so well that the company, one of the major companies that they were brokering for, said, you guys have built us up so much in this area, so now we're going to go in-house. And so basically they fired him as a broker and said, all right, now we're going to hire someone in-house. Thank you so much. Build us up, and here we go. So at that point, they decided that, Glenn decided that he was going to basically stay in the business and wanted to start basically his own. And so he had connections in the industry, obviously, and so he went down, started blending his own cigars. He's very involved in it. And he's been very active, actually, in the last, I'd say, 10 years or so. And this was one of the first, from the stories that I remember, and I tried to refresh myself, he had done like kind of more of a bundled line. this was the first really like premium one that he did. And that's why it doesn't say Criollo on it. It says, the original, not even on the band, but on the box, it's the Criollo. So even on the stickers, it doesn't say Maduro, it doesn't say anything else. It just says Robusto, and it's this shade. So, but it is a Honduran Criollo wrapper leaf over DR or Dominican binder, and then it's got Dominican and Nicaraguan filler.
Is this the first Kristoff that we've done?
This is, and that's what Nate and I were talking about when we're trying to pick a cigar. We haven't done, and this is episode 93. We have not done a Kristoff yet.
I remember you talking about it not too long ago, about a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. That Kristoff is one of the brands that we haven't done yet.
We have not, yeah. And they've got a great line. He's gone through his ups and downs. This original line has done really well for him. It continues to do well for him. It slows down at times just because it's some staple cigars, more of on the boutique, but more well-known boutique brands. He tried what was that called? Galerones series that didn't do as well. They were a little bit higher price point. Good cigars, they just didn't hit. I mean, I think he had almost developed his own market as far as, these would come in around that $10, $11 price point. And I think that when you go a little bit more on the premium side, it just didn't hit. And I think if any of the interviews you read with Glenn Case, he kind of admits it. He's just like, yeah, they didn't hit as well. Yeah, it was kind of a miss. But good stuff, definitely. But this one, well, go ahead.
How many different varieties does Kristoff make?
Ballpark, I'd say a dozen. Give or take. I mean,
are they on the smaller end as far as the quantity of varieties in the line versus some of the other brands that are out there?
Not really. I mean, you think like a dozen, 15. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's something that they've got a lot. And again, if you include that Galerone series, it was going to be even more. But the one thing that with this one, there's even some that obviously we don't carry, but he's got quite a portfolio.
The white label, isn't that the one I asked you about?
That's the Connecticut, the
Okay.
Kristoff Connecticut.
Okay.
And then like what we carry the Criollo, we carry the Maduro, we carry the Sumatra, the Cristania. I think we have the Habano, the San Andres. I mean, he's got a beefy portfolio.
Oh, absolutely.
The Britannia, which is named after his daughter Brittany, I think, and that's the whole. I think the Kristoff actually is named after his son Chris. So there's family heritage to obviously like what his whole brand image is. So I like that. I like the whole.
I like
thing.
that a lot too. This is the first Kristoff that I've ever had.
Ever
Personally, yeah.
Like tonight, this is it.
Tonight, this is the first Kristoff
First
that I've
cigar.
ever had.
This is my second.
There you go.
That white label I really enjoyed. That's why I asked if you
white
guys carried it. Yeah.
The Connecticut. It's a good milder cigar. Absolutely. The Connecticut world's just the Connecticut shade, the lighter, the milder stuff. It's a tough market to get into because of like, for example, the Montecristo White Series that we have, the classic. You got the Romeos. You got Oliva's got some Ashton, Fuente, like all these like milder cigars. It's such a, I don't want to say defined market, but there's a few years ago that the cigar industry really started, like it was a year of Connecticut shade for a lot of the younger companies, and like they were all kind of these medium to full-bodied blends were their portfolio, and then all of a sudden they came out one year and they're like, here you go. Here's our Connecticut. We're dipping our toe in, and all this stuff, and then we brought some of them on, and for us at least, they didn't do all that well. Just I think because it's a really defined and pretty stagnant market as far as like who are the heavy hitters there.
I will say this is going to be my quote unquote odd note of the night, taste note, but on the retro hail, which surprisingly I was actually able to do. It was weird. I got kind of like a warm leather note. Right. No real spice. Right. I know.
Not
see, mine was cold. Mine was cold leather.
Yeah, yours is more of like a winter, cold
like, leather.
Yeah, it's cool in the living room, and your leather sofa you sit on. You need to put a sweatshirt on because
like Ruffalo said, no bike tire. No, I didn't get any bike tire, but I got warm leather.
You're trying to tell me that is it because the cigar's hot? Like it's on fire? Like because you actually lit a cigar?
No.
Explain that. I think everyone needs to know what you mean by is it warm or hot leather? It's warm.
It's just warm.
Like someone was
smooth.
sitting in that seat for a while.
I mean, I wasn't.
Then, like the dog wants to sit up on it because it's still warm.
And it's cozy now, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a cozy
Yeah, I got
tasting
a
note.
cozy leather tasting note too.
It's just it's really smooth, and it doesn't have a lot of bite to it.
I agree
overall.
with that.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's good.
Even on the retrohale, like I get the spice notes, you know, in the taste, but in the retrohale, I don't get a lot of that.
That's a new one. I'm sorry. Now we have temperatures to our.
Like Al Roman said, saddle leather with a hint of horse. I don't think I got horse.
Well,
There's no horse
depending
hair in
on
it.
what's time of the year. That saddle leather. If it's out in the cold like this time of the year, it's gonna be that cold leather as opposed to like in the heat of the summer.
And then you've got Kyle with warm cow skin. I'm just going to stop giving tasting notes.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to do.
And it was in your nose too, right? That was the retrohale that you got that warmness. I appreciate your honesty on that.
I'm glad I
good.
could be the ass of all the jokes now.
Not at all. I'm trying to understand. I don't get it. How do you think this goes? Well, just go well, or I don't know. How do you think this goes with the little book here before we move on? It's good. Is it
What do you think,
warming up for
Austin?
Dustin?
I mean, the little book's getting better and better. I don't think they clash. That's for sure.
I don't think they clash. The little book kind of dissipates the spice notes that I get from the cigar, and just opens up that smoothness that it has. I think it's still a bit of a medium body. Correct me if I'm wrong, but medium plus.
The cigar, yeah, absolutely. The
Yeah.
cigar is definitely medium, I would say.
But I think the two pair very well together.
I'm interested to see what you guys think as you smoke through this, and if we do try the Jeffersons here, and as the conversation goes on. But with this one, I think this cigar actually does build nicely. I mean, it's not necessarily going to get stronger, but I think it's got enough complexity for me that you're going to have a bit, halfway through. For me, like some of that spice goes away a little bit. Maybe the warm leather for you, it'll go away a little bit or cool
It'll
off.
turn cold.
It'll get cold. But no, I think it actually does. I think it complements fairly well. It's just, again, when you're at 120 plus proof,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I thought about putting a drop of water in it, but I kind of don't want to. It's one of those whiskeys that you did, Nate. What do you think? You kick your mic on.
Did it change
what
at
do you
all?
think?
It took away a little bit of the heat on the back end and just opened up the flavor a little bit more.
Yeah.
I actually got more flavor out of it after adding just a drop of water than I did prior to that.
What other notes did you get from
I
it?
have to try that.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it goes well.
I think it really does too. And I like you, Steve. I thought about putting a drop of water in it, but I think the finish has gotten a lot smoother the further I've gotten into it.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
obviously, I think my palate's gotten used to it. But I think the pairing here is fantastic. It's a great nightcap combination, I believe.
I think it'd be a little rough in 90 degrees. Honestly, like if we
Oh,
were
yeah.
in, we had a
Yeah,
gr-
for
if
sure.
we were in here and we were sweating.
This is one of
instead
those 50 and below combinations.
Yeah,
I think this would be like a perfect fall night, sit outside, kind of cool out.
I would say.
But fall's gone. Where did fall go?
That was last week.
I actually get
What happened to fall?
I do get more sweetness out of it after the water.
Do you?
So I've got a bit of a burn still. I don't know if it's partially because of the cigar, but I still have a burn as I'm swallowing. Like it's kind of
The finish is a little longer.
it's got a little bit of a kick to it. I don't know. But again, at that proof, it's not the
The finish does
smoothness.
linger. I don't think it's. To me, I don't think it's very strong of a finish. Like it doesn't. I know I've had some whiskeys where the finish
like that.
really, just like that.
Yeah.
That was a good sip.
Sounds like it.
Smooth.
But I've had some whiskeys where the finish just works its way down
Right,
down your chest.
inside. Yeah.
And it's, like you
This
really
isn't-
feel
this
it.
isn't like
This
that.
one just stays there in your palate.
Yeah. I would say I recommend if anyone has this in their collection and they are one of those collectors that have not cracked it because I'll never get it again, I encourage you to crack it.
Or at least a pour or two.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to kill this bottle for you.
Right,
I
absolutely.
think
Oh, you guys get another glass for sure. Yeah.
do another glass. All right,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no. I
Well-
was just going to say I'm interested. This is one of those that I'd be interested to see what it tastes like 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Now that it's cracked, and you set it
Just
back
let it-
down,
yeah.
and see how if it
Sure.
mellows a little bit.
You shake your bottles before you pour them once they've been opened.
I don't.
sometimes.
You should.
Really?
Yes.
Explain that.
Yeah, please.
So when we were at Buffalo Trace, they shine a light into the bottle of open bottles, like so. It's science. It's science. I don't know, but it's,
Can't argue
you
science.
you get particles that fall to the bottom of that bourbon bottle, so it needs mixed up before you pour it.
Even a fresh bottle.
That I don't know.
Okay.
But once it's been opened,
Once the air hits it after it's been
yeah. Before you pour it again, you should always shake it up.
because it settles a bit naturally, is what you're saying.
I wonder
Yes.
if just because there's been debates and hypothetical debates on chill filtered versus non-chill filtered, and a lot of people prefer non-chill filtered because they claim it's still the whiskey still holds its natural fatty acids, if you will, from the grain.
There's that science.
Versus the chill filtered. Now, obviously, this is hypothetical, and you can't really see to the naked eye all of that. But I wonder if that plays into
The filter- yeah,
shaking the bottle up.
Yeah, filtered
to-
versus non-filtered bourbons. That could be playing into it too. So maybe not all bourbons, but
Right. I think it's still a good rule of thumb. I've never done it, so I'd be intrigued to do so, especially some of the bottles that I've had that's sat for a while.
That's going to be a poll on our page. It's
Yeah.
got to be on our Instagram. Is do you shake your bottles or not? And what are your thoughts on that? Because I am interested in that. 'Cause I don't do it enough. If it is something you're supposed to do, I think about that as I probably don't do it if that is the rule of thumb.
yeah.
Nate,
Right.
what do you
Our,
think?
our tour guide at Buffalo Trace, they had open bottles there. They had a special light that they shine in the bottle, and like you
And
can
they
act- you can actually
encourage
you can
you.
actually see the difference in the color of
That's
the bourbon.
crazy. Like
Yeah.
I know when I did my tour, and it could have been completely different than yours. They never did any of that during the tour, as far as
interesting.
showing all of that, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really, really cool and really interesting.
Yeah, Trace was awesome.
I have
sure.
yet to be there, and I want to do that.
Oh yeah, you should definitely go.
I think historically, it's one of my favorite tours.
Yeah.
I actually had a bottle once that got some of that sediment in the bottom of it. That it was a bottle that I hadn't drank in a while, and I thought it was just me until you said that, Austin.
Yeah.
It was a bottle of Woodford Double Oak.
Well,
And it had
I
the-
could
the
see
settle-
that.
Yeah, some of your bourbons, excuse me, coming out. I mean, it says on the bottle unfiltered, so I think those are going to be definitely the ones that you would want to.
I think a lot of your barrel proofs and things like that
Yeah.
are going to be key indicators for that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Nate, the double barrels, I could see that with it coming out of the heavily charred second barrel.
Yeah. John Belly says probably finishing it too fast to bother. So, John,
Yeah.
good for you, buddy. I know the feeling sometimes with certain bottles, absolutely.
Right, yeah.
I did want to mention also before we move on here, the Kristoff, I will say, I forgot to mention, and I was looking at the cigar while you guys were talking, and I was listening, don't get me wrong. But it does, most of their stuff has a closed foot, which means that instead of that clean cut on the bottom, for those of you who don't know what that is, they actually have a bit of the wrapper leaf actually wrapped over the end, so it's a closed foot. There is some technique to that. There's different reasons why people do that. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, because a lot of times I feel like if you light that part, and the idea is maybe you're lighting the wrapper so it's easier to light and it'll all kind of burn evenly, which this does burn. I think the construction on the cigar is fantastic,
Yeah,
but
it burns good.
I will say that I don't care for it because especially if you're smoking in a shirt you like, or if you're dressed nicely and you're not just wearing jeans and like a shirt that you don't care about, as you're lighting it, if you light it over yourself, it flakes off.
Yeah.
It flakes off, and those little like wrapper leaves that are falling off are still red hot and will absolutely burn some of your clothes. So that's my personal opinion
So
on that.
why do they? What's the advantage of having a closed foot?
That again, it's partly I think just a strategy of partially the look. I think it's also again I think it's, and someone out there please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something that when you light it, it actually does supposedly kind of you're scoring the wrapper more from the beginning just by lighting that foot as opposed to lighting the filler and then kind of making sure the wrapper gets caught. That's my understanding of it. Nate, what do you got?
Well, we've seen a lot of times working in the shop where people don't do a good toast on
Yeah.
the foot before they light. They just immediately start pulling through it, and it just starts burning right down the middle of the cigar, and they don't have the wrapper and the outer and the binder and everything burning as well.
Yeah, and this also, most of the Kristoffs, especially in that core line, they have a real tight pigtail, if you notice that at the top.
Yeah.
And again, a technique, looks cool, looks different, but that is something that you can literally just twist off instead of having a cutter. That's part of that reason, is that you can just twist that off and
Flying pigs.
Flying pigs, yeah. So there's that technique where that actually will then give you, instead of cutting it, you can still smoke it by just twisting that cap off.
Really?
Yeah. So
I still cut my
Interesting.
flying pigs, though. I don't like that.
I do too. I do. But yeah, it's something that there is technique, and that's he definitely has the word Cuban style on a lot of his boxes, on a lot of his products. Even this one, it's a Cuban seed Honduran Criollo, which a lot of it is originally Cuban seed, in the industry from Nicaragua, Honduras, and Dominican. But, I think overall I'd say, I'm excited to try this Jefferson's. But
Absolutely.
Austin, I want to thank you for bringing the little book, because this is
Yeah.
it's
Very
definitely
much.
a treat.
My pleasure.
Definitely a treat.
Yeah,
So,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So with Kristoff, thank you, Nate. He said, so this is the week where the Kristoff Criollo, the original, is going to be 15% off at the Tinderbox at Easton, one of our sponsors. So if you are local to the Columbus area, you can get to the shop, you can buy one, you can buy more, and we carry the Robusto and the Matador, which is a little bit longer size, but you can buy those for 15% off. If you are calling in to buy them, 5 cigar minimum, but we'll do the 15% off to you, and we'll ship them to you if you're in the United States, the continental United States. Yeah.
Not 15% off.
Yeah, and we carry we carry other Kristoff cigars as well. That this is the time of the year if you guys want to try something new. If you're looking for shopping for the holiday season, this is a great brand to try. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
So we're gonna take a break from the audio here for the video. We I don't know if anyone from the Tinderbox is still watching, but I know that Kylie Boudreau from Nat Sherman is over there doing a smoking jacket event tonight. So I'm interested to see the pictures of anyone that wore a good smoking jacket.
She posted a couple, I think at least one of Leo, who...
That was
Right.
last year. Did she post one for
She
this
posted
year?
one for this year in your post of the podcast going live at 7:30.
Okay, I have not seen that yet, but I am. Is it,
Yeah.
How does it look compared to last year?
It's close to how it was last year. Same
Okay.
kind of silky
Does he have
robe.
a hat on this year?
No, I don't think he had a hat on this year.
Good. That's good.
I think last year was an Antioch style.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
John, if you just while we're doing the save and taking a quick break, John, you want to get to Columbus one day, meet you guys, we'd love to have you. Let
Without
us
a
know
doubt.
in advance. We'll have you over in the garage if it works out.
Have you on for an episode too?
Have you on
We
as a
can.
guest?
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
It looks like Leo actually wore a smoking jacket over a smoking jacket and then took the outer one off. Because there's 2 pictures of him with, and you can see the.
Is he trying to enter the contest twice?
I don't know. Well, he won it last year, but
Right.
you can see he's got the purple one, and then he's got that black or that midnight blue over top of it. You can still see that purple one underneath.
That's nice. So yeah, go ahead, and if you are listening to the feed right now, you're checking out the video, send us a picture of your best smoking jacket
Right, absolutely. Post it on the community page as well.
for sure. I'm gonna crack the garage for just a moment. I'll flag you down, Kyle, and close it back up because it's fucking freezing. You want to go ahead and get started here, Nate? What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So as we get into this, and let's pour it. Have Austin pour. You want to do that, or you want to do another one of these?
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
I was
What
going
do
to
you
do
wanna
Jefferson's,
What do you
and
wanna
then
do?
if
Go
we
back
wanted
to that.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can do that.
So we're going to do the Jefferson's Reserve, one that Austin was talking about, which I love it. He had it at one of the bars he's at, the Goat.
Yeah. So
And-
my boss. So I have one bottle of this in my house from the owner, and I kind of wanted to save that bottle for something else. Maybe not even open that one.
Okay.
So I asked my other boss, "Hey, do you have an extra bottle of this?"
An extra bottle for you to bring here?
Extra bottle, yeah, that I can crack open. And just so happens he did. It was his second bottle, so he had two.
He's okay with this.
Yes,
Wow.
he's a cool guy. So shout out to
Wow.
Bill Cimararo. Thank you for the bourbon.
Hopefully you can tune in and check it out.
Yeah, he knows about it. So
Good.
he was nice. He was nice enough to give me his second bottle. I'm gonna try to bring a little bit back to him. If not, I'll give him some of
without
my
a doubt.
Give him some of my bottle. It's all good. So I have had this.
Do you know any age on it or anything like that?
I do not. Man, what a shitty guest.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Not only are you not a shitty guest, but you also are not a shitty guest because you also brought 2 bottles of whiskey. So
And not just 2 bottles, but two
Good bottles.
Yeah,
Two
two
good bottles. Yeah, I
rare
tried.
bottles. At that.
Dustin, talk about this while I pour because I can't do both here.
So it was really kind of your boss to spare one of his extra bottles
Yeah,
for this.
absolutely.
You say he knows about the podcast, or he knows that
Yeah.
you're at least bringing it to the podcast.
Yeah, so I shot him a text. I sent Steve, a list of some of my rare stuff in my collection. I was like, just pick, whatever you want. I'll bring it. He said, bring this one just for the story aspect and maybe that little book. I said, all right, I'll bring both. So I texted him. I'm like, hey, do you have an extra bottle of this Jefferson's floating around somewhere in Goat Nation, as we like to call it?
Yeah.
And so he kind of did a search, and he said he couldn't find any, but he had 2 at his house, so he gave me one of his. So,
Wow.
All right, so let's
See,
go ahead.
This says batch 3 on it.
that's bottle 3, I think. Or
Bottle 3.
I can't see. I'm getting old.
Getting old.
It says batch number 3. I'm not sure exactly what the E-534.
That might be the barrel.
I was going to say the barrel, or there's some sort of
the rick house number, floor,
the
and barrel
warehouse.
number. Yeah.
Because they don't have rick houses there; they just have warehouses. Correct.
This is bottle number 3.
Bottle number 3.
Bottle number 3.
Okay.
Wow.
Who needs glasses? Me or you?
You do. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
Austin, this is a goat pick.
Go pick.
For those of you guys who don't know what goat is, so the reason that I've known Austin for several years, kind of crossed paths several times locally, kind of out at obviously the goat. I've seen you, and then at the shop a lot.
Yeah, I've been coming to the Tinderbox for
A long time.
16 years.
Yeah, before I was involved there.
this is open. My cousin used to work there like way back in the day.
Who's your cousin?
Matt Blakesley.
I don't even know Matt.
Yeah.
So you've been in part
Either way,
of that community as well, this
Correct,
community. But so the reason that we were talking one night, actually, I think it was a Bears game that I was up there watching. Is that right?
Something like that.
At one of the local
hard to-
bars at Turtle Creek, which is the Lucky Bar for the Cubs back in 2016, just so you guys know. Beth Hism, I see you're watching. Go Cubs, by the way. She's a big Indians fan. She doesn't like me right now. But, we started talking about it, and you were interested in being on, and I think it's great because, having you on this, you have been a part of, obviously, an industry that is very much involved in the bourbon aspect of it.
Sure.
You can kind of go into what your actual title is, but I know you're a jack of all trades. You've been with that company, the GOAT, for quite some time, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have you on and talk about how it all works. When we're talking about making it work.
Yeah.
It was something where I thought about you and even like with my life, and then having Dustin on here as well with all the transitions he's going through in life, is how do you make it all work, the balance and everything else, and with more specifically, if you have opposing schedules with either what you want to do in your personal life, your significant other, your family, if if your work life is getting in the way of your personal, or vice versa, just making
Absolutely,
it all work.
Yeah.
All together so that you can have success and kind of sleep easy when you can sleep. So
sleep
tell us
is
a little
kind of
bit
hard
about,
to
like,
come
the
by
whole-
these days, but I mean, it
sleep's
gets
tougher.
better because
Yeah.
my youngest is getting older, so that's good.
How old?
Making it. Go ahead.
How old?
3.5, and I have one that's gonna be 6 in February, and then
Okay.
I have a daughter that's turned 13 in January, so she's coming up on 14.
That's a
Almost
spread.
14, almost 6, 3.5. Yeah,
There's a spread right
that's a
there.
Spread.
So what do you do for the go? Explain to everyone out there. We were gracious. You were gracious enough to bring that on there, and we thank you.
Yeah.
We're
So
very
my
grateful for that.
title is I'm senior kitchen manager. I'm the only person that holds that title in the company. So each store that we have 9 operating stores in 3 states, with more to come. So
How many states?
3.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have 5 stores in Ohio,
Yep.
3 in Tennessee, 1 in Kentucky. Right now, currently operating.
Wow.
Next year we're slated to open 2, maybe 3.
So constantly expanding, and the go is.
Constantly expanding.
Are they
yes.
all a part of the LC?
Correct.
So-
It's an integrated business, so LC owns it all.
Lifestyle communities,
Lifestyle communities
in there.
yeah.
Apartments, condos, freestanding houses.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a community in itself, a little town almost.
Correct.
And the goat
yeah.
is a basically the local restaurant, the
Yeah,
only
it's-
local restaurant in the community.
Yeah,
and-
it's kind
and
of it's
bar.
kind of the
Like a
focal
restaurant,
point.
bar lounge kind of thing.
Focal point of it. So they build these communities. We'll start out in the suburbs, so New Albany,
Mm-hmm.
Dublin, Hilliard, Gahanna. These condos, apartments, and they'll slap a restaurant in between, in the middle of all of it, and the rest is history. So
I mean, you got volleyball courts at a lot of
volleyball
these. You got
courts, pools. We entered our first urban market 2 years ago on High and
downtown.
yeah,
When you say urban,
Rich and High Street.
yeah.
So I was down there for like 6 months, opening that store. Hiring, training.
Now you do most of the kitchen style. Like, is that mainly your
Yeah,
your
mostly.
role?
Yeah,
But
mostly back of the house. That's where I started. But when a new store, we do new store openings, so I'm part of, basically hiring everybody from
Just everything.
servers to back. Setting up a store from the ground.
that's
not
where the
ground up,
senior part of your title comes
See,
in.
yeah,
right?
that and my tenure. April's gonna be my 9-year anniversary.
Nice.
There. So,
Congrats.
it's an interesting business for sure. Like we were the first of our kind to like really do that. Apartments and have a bar right there. So we're in the housing market and the liquor industry. So like one's gonna always be up.
Well, and you've seen changes obviously with the bourbon, the whiskey getting just hotter and hotter over the
Yeah,
last
for
9
sure.
years. I can imagine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good company. I love it.
I think that concept, though, of an apartment complex or a condo development or housing development, then slapping your own centralized bar restaurant in the middle of it. I think the whole concept is really great.
Yeah.
You don't see that anywhere else, at least not to my knowledge.
Yeah, we really were the
and
first-
a lot of other
The first to do it, but
right. But
sorry, go ahead.
at that point, I know because I looked at when I was looking for apartments, I had looked at a couple LC communities, and they're not small apartment complexes by any means either. I don't even know exactly how many buildings you have, but I know when I went to look at a couple of them, it was back one street and over another and crossing at least 4 other streets to get
they're
back
all-
to even
so they're
one.
all-
So that was probably
they're all
Gahanna.
one, yeah.
Gahanna used to be the biggest complex. We were talking earlier. They have 800. They have around 800 residents there, or doors as we call them.
And that's apartments, condos, and everything else, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I think New Albany's pretty large
And
too.
New Albany has now surpassed that. We're
Okay.
We're in the 1,000 range because we moved down the
Okay,
streets.
this was about a year ago.
Yes.
Or so year and a half
So that
ago.
New Albany store moved, and they added more condos, more apartments, and now we're up to like 1,100 or so. So
So the one in the Gahanna one, I've been in New Albany. I don't think I've been in Dublin. I know I've spent, and I've seen you up over the years at the Gahanna one. Let me just explain.
They throw me wherever I'm needed.
I know.
Usually.
And I'd see you I'd be over there after being on a Sunday or whatever, and I'm off on Monday, and I'd be I just spent 6 hours at the pool, and then I played in the volleyball league because I had a lot of friends that lived there, and then you get to know all the people that work there, and then all of a sudden it's it really is like this community thing that you guys have created, and food's killer obviously as well. So you can basically spend an entire day there in your own apartment complex. I'd say the only drawback is that, like I told you before the podcast, is on a given Sunday, if it was a really nice day and a lot of friends were up there and you had volleyball games in the afternoon, so you get up there, have a couple beers or whatever beforehand, play some volleyball, then you go back to the pool. and like the Gahanna one has 2 pools. So it's huge. There's tons of people all around. There's cornhole. There's even like what they call a tiki bar out there, which is a bar at the pool.
At the pool.
The tabs add up. I gotta be honest. The tabs add up.
You look at your watch.
There's other apartment complexes.
Where'd that 10 hours go?
Not only is it an amazing atmosphere, but I mean, there's like I was invited over to other people's apartments pool, and it was like, yeah, just bring a 6-pack or bring a 12-pack. We're buying buckets of beer, and then all of a sudden someone gets shots. And then it's like, oh, let's get a pizza. Let's do this. And
right.
by the end of the night, you're $100 down.
Yeah, it's up. Thank you.
It's supposed to be an easy. Yeah, no, you're welcome. I mean, yeah, yeah. When you see me there, you weren't upset that I was hanging out, and neither was any of the bar
appreciate
staff.
The business.
Sure.
We appreciate the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you said community. You hit it right. Hit the nail on the head. Like that's what we're going for. We want to build a community. We want people to feel at home in their apartment, at the goat, at the pool, wherever it may be.
I think you're like a post office away from having your own zip code too.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Trying.
All right. So how do you do it then? I mean, like, over the last 9 years, so you already had one kid before you started with the goat. Were you in the restaurant industry before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the New Albany Country Club full time.
Also a nice place.
Yeah. I wanted to. I don't know. Get a second job. I don't know why. I started going to the goat at New Albany, the old one.
Yep.
With my current wife. And I ended up talking to my current boss there. He's like, "Hey, we're expanding our kitchen. We're hiring. We met before." I told him my background, like I was in fine dining. He's like, "You're ever looking for work? Just apply." I'm like, "All right, I'll give it a shot. See what's up with this goat place."
Because it was still, I mean, relatively new. Not new,
back then there was 2 stores. There was New Albany and Gahanna.
Yeah. When
I first started, so I worked part time at the goat, and I worked full time at the country club. And probably a month into my tenure there, my boss is like, "Hey, you want to come here full time?" I'm like, "Well,
what are you going to pay?"
Yeah. Give me a reason to not say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a reason. So I worked there for a year part time at the goat before I transitioned into full time. I went part time at the country club, full time at the goat because I saw potential, and he gave me what I wanted as far as money aspect.
Yeah, which is important.
Yeah,
especially with a family.
But I saw a real future for myself there, as opposed to the country club.
Yeah,
just more opportunity. Like I saw,
typically expanding, right?
I saw growth. At the time, the Dublin store was being built when I got hired on.
Okay,
and then came Hilliard, and then I saw a chance for opportunity, and that's why I took it. Here I am.
So all the while, like I said, with the subject at hand, making it work.
Yeah, hours. I put in a lot of hours.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Starting off,
You guys open at what time at most of these?
11.
11 a.m.
Yes.
And you close at?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The kitchen closes at 12.
At midnight.
Most, yeah. Wow. Some stores are different.
But the bar's open till 2.
Till 2,
2:30. The last call 2.
Last
probably,
call 2, yeah. Everybody out by 2:30. I'm not there that late typically anymore. Sometimes it just depends.
But over the years, were you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Being in a management position, like you have to be there late nights. It's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah, Thanksgiving Eve is a
I might be
night.
My background is back of the house guy, but I did every position at the goat from GM, kitchen manager, bar back, bartended. Like I've done it all. So that's just part of the gig, and I wanted to, make a career out of that place, so I just did whatever it took, basically, for a while.
And in the meantime, you had 2 more kids.
Yeah, 2 more kids. So thankfully, my hours have gotten better as the years have gone by.
Sure.
I don't do those. I was writing the menus there for a while. We did a menu redux, and I had some 80-hour weeks there. Managing a store plus writing a food menu, which is a full-time job in itself. And those were 80-hour weeks. That's just it'll kill you after a while.
Well, not only you, but I mean, also like that's what I'm saying with the family. Like,
yeah,
I think this is a big part of it for me. I mean, I'm currently in a relationship where I work retail hours. Most like 3 days is during the day, pretty easy for most people would think, and then I work 2 days. Basically 12 hours a day, open to close, and one of those days are Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, my girlfriend is in the serving industry, and so tonight she's working. Last night she closed, so she didn't get home until about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So, passing in the night, basically, on a lot of these days.
2 ships passing the night.
So, and that's just me and my girlfriend in our house. You already had a child, and in the meantime, you've got 2 in this 9-year span. Like,
yeah. So we made it work.
I think my life is difficult at times.
Well, the restaurant industry is a beast. It's different. It's hard to explain to people that haven't.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. It's hard to explain how it works to people that have never worked in a restaurant in any capacity.
What does your wife do?
She's a hairstylist. So she has 3 days off a week.
Yeah.
Which is, she does her 40 hours and she has 3 days off. I always typically have 2 days off.
Nice.
They're usually set Tuesday, Sunday. So our Sundays we spend together. We got the kids.
Nice.
Tuesdays I'm at home all day with the kids. She's at work. Mondays she's off, but I go in a little bit later typically, so we see each other those days. Wednesday we both work. Here lately I've been switching my schedule up to be off early on Wednesdays because that's her late day. I know this is a lot to go through.
No. So it's her late day. So
it's her late day.
Go home for the kids.
She gets home or she gets off work at like 8 on Wednesdays. So I've switched my schedule to do like a 9 to 5 on Wednesdays. I'll just go and open the store.
So when the kids come home from like school or whatever.
We'll have a babysitter until 6 o'clock when I get to their house,
which isn't ever cheap.
So luckily, it's a built-in babysitter. It's our sister-in-law.
There you go. Family's always good.
Her oldest brother, wife, she watches our kids.
Nice.
Typically all the time. So Wednesdays, Thursdays she's off, so she has the kids all day, like today.
Yeah.
I work today, and I took half a day
to be here.
Appreciate that.
Perfect.
My boss is listening. I got my time off approved. I did it the legit.
You're advertising. You're still working almost.
I'm advertising, but I did it approved.
So
exactly. Yeah, I did it the right way. Fridays, she goes in super early in the morning. I take the kids to school, and then babysitter comes at like noon, and I go in. She's home by 5. Saturdays, same thing. She goes in early, and she's home by 4, so I'm there in the morning. Typically, and I work Saturday nights, so we just pass each other there.
It hasn't always been like this, though, has it? I mean, your schedule, or is it pretty much you guys have been able to work it out like this, or was there ever a time where you were like, "What the fuck are we gonna do"?
It hasn't been bad, really. I mean, I've made some changes here and there. Like it's been a struggle not to blow smoke up your ass. Like we've had issues with it, but she's been supportive of me for the most part,
which is huge,
as far as getting back into the restaurant industry, because I was away for a while. I wanted to come back to it. She's like, "You should just do it. Like, go back into the restaurants." I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, you probably asked that a lot.
But yeah, the past couple of years has been getting better. Like, hours have changed, and eventually it's going to get to a point where, I'm not going to do 4 nights every week. Late nights,
sure,
because sometimes it's like that, and it's just the nature of the beast. It's protecting something that I've built up,
right.
Had a hand in. Like, a lot of the menu is mine. Like, I feel like I have to ssupport the business. I'd be there, and I can't let it fail. Yeah, exactly.
You treat it like it's your own.
Yeah,
I do the same thing at work. And not to cut in or anything like
no,
that.
You're fine.
No, actually, you were the next one on the.
I work retail
there.
with Kroger. I've been with him for a number of years. I started the day before I turned 17. I woke up the next day, my dad goes, "Happy birthday, go to work." All right, Dad. And I never thought that I would ever go into management, because when I originally started, my parents told me, if I wanted a car and I had to get my license and I had to get a job. And coming from a small country town, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities as far as jobs go.
Where's the
So I grew up in just outside.
You guys move that box between you guys. This is annoying me. How's it not annoying you guys?
So Wilson.
We look over it.
Wilson.
How are you? So I grew up just outside of Urbana, small country town, about an hour and 15 minutes west of here, in the country. And so I told my parents, I said, absolutely, I'll get a job, but I'm not working fast food, and I'm not going to work at Kroger. I'll fill out the application at Kroger to make you happy, but that's it. going on 15 years later.
Yeah, you got that job, right?
Right. Yeah,
that's good.
I got the job.
Congrats, by the way. I forgot to say congratulations.
There was a year of hiatus in there, but my whole career has been nothing but grocery retail, and it's a lot of long hours. Thankfully, about a couple weeks before 4th of July, I got moved to my third different store since being back here in the Columbus area. And the store that I'm at now, we've been in a great shape to where, I'm able to take 2 days off in a week. Where I was at before, I was lucky to get 2 days off in a week. And the only time I would get 2 days off in a week is if one of those days was a scheduled personal day. And sometimes I didn't even get those.
Yeah.
And that was just a lot of that was, the store had opportunities, and a lot of them at that. And just like you in the restaurant business, when I go to work, I treat that store as if it's my own. I'm not the actual store leader per se, but I'm just under him.
Yeah.
And every time I go in, I treat that as my own. And then over the last 6 months or so, there's been a lot of changes. And
last couple of years, really, in my opinion.
Right, yeah.
Like 2 years.
Last couple of years. So I moved back to Columbus August of 2017.
I feel like it was longer than that.
It does, doesn't it? I live with my brother.
If that's good or bad, I didn't know how to take that.
I lived with my brother and his wife for a good few months until I found an apartment of my own, and that's where I started to go into the tinderbox, and it's where I got to really know Steve.
Yeah.
I had met him before from stopping in a couple times when I used to live in Columbus, but really got to know him a lot, even more so because I would be in there a lot more often. That's where I got to meet Jake, and we became really great friends. I met Nate there as well, and a lot of the great people there, and really got to know that community, and I'm really thankful for that, and all of them really, because they helped me through a lot of things.
When you're going through some stuff, I mean, it helps having that community, that outreach. I mean,
without a doubt.
That's something like the GOAT as well. I mean, you see a lot of regulars there.
We
don't have as much alcohol, but it's one of those things that you see regulars that
alcohol
are friends.
Helps sometimes.
Alcohol does help. It hurts sometimes, but most of the time help. I'd say.
It's community support. Like it's basically your home away from home or family, if you will.
But what changed recently? Because Dustin, that's one of the reasons I wanted you to be on here as well, because you got Austin on one side of the table, and he's 13-year-old, 6-year-old, 3-year-old, and I've been doing this for 9 years, and he's been how long have you been married?
7 years.
7 years.
2012. Yeah. 7
Is
years.
she listening right now or later? She'll listen later, I'm sure.
She'll listen later.
Yeah, you get
sure.
it. Yeah, hopefully
they get it right.
But I mean, so he's been doing this a while, and so then you have Dustin over here, and he's been on several times, and he's mentioned about the girlfriend. Now it's the fiance, and now it was at one point. Well, at one point it was even like, I'm dating this girl and got this great daughter and like all this stuff, and I mean she's really taken to me and all this stuff, and then it's fiance, it's like you said, house, it's
wedding
daughter, it's not
school.
her daughter anymore. It's like it's like family unit, and also all this Kroger stuff that you had going on already. Now we don't see you as much at the tinderbox.
No.
Which, surprise, surprise.
It happens.
Things are going well, and you got other places to be. Well, we don't see you as much. That's fine. But that's how that works.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how do you make it work then?
So,
like, what's changed for you?
So, I mean, it all started, about a year ago in April. Is when we first really started talking, and, we'd hang out, and, she came with me to a couple cigar events, and she'll say it was so I could get more cigars. And
does she smoke?
No. I say that, but
she's hesitated.
Yeah, I was like, well, he says no. She says no, like right off the bat. And you're like,
so she's had a few cigars.
I'll give you that.
She has had a few cigars, but she doesn't smoke them like I do, by any means.
Right.
But like you said, Steve, it all just kind of started, and the ball started rolling, and when I finally met her daughter, it was one of those things that there was a connection there, and I never would have thought that I would be dating and engaged to someone who had a daughter already, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't
Right.
change it for anything.
Right.
I never wanted kids.
Ever. Now who's listening? Who's
Now I have 3. I'm like,
yeah. Whoops.
So yeah, a lot's changed over time. We went through the holidays, and we spent a lot more time together. We spent our first Christmas together last year, and
it was awesome.
our first New Year's together, and I did the smoking tent event, and then got up early the next day because it happened to be on a Friday this last year.
Yeah.
And her birthday is St. Patrick's Day, which fell on a Saturday, and we celebrate her birthday. And
Daffodil.
no,
Tinderbox, yeah, surprisingly.
it was a trampoline park actually. And then that next month, I'd been planning it for a little while, and it was just one of the things that when you know.
Yeah,
That,
absolutely.
that's the person.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, had conversations with Steve and Jake on it, and they knew how I felt.
Told you to run away.
And
I didn't say that.
but then I started planning it some more, and actually Kyle, who's doing the photography here, he was gracious enough. He took photos of the entire event of my proposal.
Oh, nice.
Which was literally an entire event. A lot of people would say it was outlandish. I won't go into that whole ordeal.
Looks like he brought him.
He brought pictures of everything.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't
So
share it.
I can't show them on the. I'll skip.
Take a look
skip
later.
to a lot of
I'll
those.
peruse through him later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can peruse
We're on
through those
audio
later.
can't see it for sure.
Oh yeah, audio can't see it. But long story short, I did an elaborate plan for a scavenger hunt.
Oh, wow,
her.
you went all out.
Yes. So
It's like 3 romantic movies in one. I'm telling you.
pretty much.
When he was telling me all this, I was like, and then I was like, wait, what do you mean?
wait.
And then?
And
Like,
And then
like,
you already
that's
said
it.
it
I
then
already
4
saw
other
that movie.
times.
What
I saw it. Like I can picture it in my head. I know
This
who's
is like
going to star
this is
in
like a
it.
12-hour event or
This
what?
person's going to be playing you, and then it's like, and then I'm like, wait, what? And then I was like, Jesus, come on, man! It was amazing. Making us all look
I
bad.
wanted to say I wanted to do something memorable is an understatement, I guess. After it's all
It
said
sounds
and
like
done.
it. Yeah.
But she loves clues and puzzles and things like that. When it comes to things like escape rooms where you got to find
Yeah.
everything. So this was right up her alley, and I wanted to do something that she would love, and I wanted to incorporate Cadence, our daughter, and it all went off pretty much as planned.
amazing.
For the most part,
Yeah.
and I thank everyone who was involved, including Steve and Jake at the Tinderbox. They were one of the clues along the way. So
That's
it
pretty
all
cool.
had
That's
things
pretty
to
cool.
do with things that we loved, that I loved, that she loved, that Cadence loved. So it was, I tried to tie all of that together. But I did that in April, and the unique story was, on that Saturday, the day before, we had gone to go see a house. Go look at a house. So we had actually been talking about going to see a house, look at houses and buy a house. And we had looked at a few others. They weren't exactly what we had wanted. So
They
that's,
never are.
No. But that Saturday, we went and looked at a house in Johnstown. And the moment we walked in the door is one of those, when you walk in the door, you feel like you're walking into home. And that's exactly how all of us felt. And so we decided, we're going to come back again the next day and look at it again. Just to, get a second feel.
As
Yeah.
one would, yeah.
Yeah, and that next day, that Sunday, was actually the day that I had everything
Was
planned
this
to
this
propose.
year? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this
the
is
house?
just
All right.
this past April.
All this happened this year.
I was gonna say you got to put a bid on that house if it feels like home right then.
So-
Otherwise, you
So-
might
yeah,
lose that
absolutely.
house.
Yeah, so we went back and looked at it. It had actually been on the market for close to a month, if not 2 months.
Oh wow.
So we went back and looked at it and decided, this was the house that we really wanted. And then later that afternoon, evening is when I proposed. And so
pretty awesome.
we talked about it some more, and ultimately that's the house that we bought. We closed on it the weekend before Memorial Day in May. Moved in about the end of June. And so my summer has consisted of getting everything ready for the house,
Yeah.
work, 50-plus hours a week.
Housework, yeah. I know the feeling.
Yeah, and so I haven't been
feeling.
at the tinderbox as much, and but at the same time, I'm eternally grateful and thankful to have Kathy in my life, to where I make my schedule work, and I have that ability to do so, because my schedule is never the same week to week.
Right. Yeah.
So,
same boat.
But I at least have a store leader that I can go to them and say, hey, I need at least this one day.
Sure.
To where I can either work early or that I'm off, because I do a podcast every week, and she knew going into it that I do this every week and how much I love it.
Yeah.
And how much I love being here and
gotta
being
have the
a part of
hobbies,
it.
right? I mean,
right. And she knew that, and she saw the passion that I had for it, and she's not gonna let me miss that. She can't help it. Now, there's been times where I haven't been here for, reasons that have been more important. One of which was, we went to a bridal showing at the venue
something she wanted to do. So
well,
compromise. Yeah,
she's welcome here anytime. By the way.
Yeah.
So if
she's welcome here
listening,
anytime.
You're welcome to be here.
I mean,
She's come.
to be on the podcast
She came last
as
year on
well.
my birthday and surprised the hell out of me.
And I was a part of that as well.
Steve was.
Yeah.
But there's been a few weeks that I've missed for things that have been, more important, like taking the little girl trick-or-treating, or
absolutely
going to the venue that we've picked for our wedding. And
So there's sacrifice.
Yes.
After all that, I mean, and thank you for sharing, because I think it's amazing how life can change through all that stuff. And
it's been a lot of changes.
And I mean, I think it's a great story. You've made you're. I would say you're making it work.
We are
I'm
making
not
it work.
Say anything, and it's not a negative when I say this, but I think a lot of us, when Austin, I mean, you're still making it work. We haven't made it work. None of us have made it work, because you've made it work so far.
Yeah, so it's a process.
It's still going
to get better.
Sure.
That's,
Dustin's like, we talk about this whole thing on this podcast. You may have heard it before, Austin, but it's like with a hand in your face. When you're having problems, that's also just life in general.
Right.
So like right now, like Dustin, I feel like your hand is in your face, and that's all these changes all at once happening right now. Oh, by the way, you're still going to get married here soon.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know what I mean? So you're still planning all this shit. So that now it's a matter of it's that balance. You know what I mean? And
right.
I think,
so right now we are making it work.
Yeah, and I think it's great
to the best of our abilities.
Make it work. I'm not saying that you won't.
There's days, and there's been a lot of days where we're both stressed out and frustrated with the amount of stuff that we have to do, and things that we have to do with the house yet that we don't have done, that we want to get done. And we see those things, and both of us are one of those people that yes, we know it takes time, but we look at it and we're like, no, we want to get it done. So it gets frustrating at times, but at the end of the day, I do everything in my power to try to keep reassuring her that we will get these done.
It's going to work out.
It's going to work out, and to throw another change, we're having her family up for Thanksgiving.
Jeez.
So I love her family.
At least it's not boring.
It's not.
No, okay. So let me chime in real quick if I could. I like Liz's family too, but it's different than liking family than having them in your house. And I'm not saying that again in a negative way, but I'm so interested to talk to you like December 1st. Because you might like I said, I'm not talking about it bad. I think a lot of people can understand this and relate. But it was like when Liz's brother was in town, and then like her mom was over and her dad was over at different times, and then it was like her stepdad was over, and then it was everyone was over, and it's like for a week there's a point of loving family, and if my family would be the same way, you know what I mean? It's just at a certain point, like your house is your house.
Yeah, it's your domain.
And at some point, it stops being your house.
Yeah.
So I love the fact you're doing it. And again, if anyone from Liz's family is working or listening, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but it's a different dynamic. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic that is another area where you need to make it work. And I use that literally because you love the family, you love the person you're with, you love all that stuff, but there's work there.
There
you
is.
Go into it.
There
just, is. Balls to the wall and be like, this is going to be so great. And then about like 2 days into it or, later in the day and you're just like, I don't feel like I'm in my own house right now. Like
I'm going to the
Yeah.
a lot of
garage.
shot callers. Austin knows this saying.
I'm
There's
going
too
to the
many.
basement.
There's too many
Too many-
cooks in the kitchen.
Too many
Too many
many
Chiefs,
chefs in
not
the
enough
kitchen.
Indians.
That's
But
it.
we made it work, and we will continue to do so. We
How
haven't
Wait, how long have you guys been together total?
about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
That's young.
It is, and it's.
Would you call that
it's-
honeymoon phase, or you think they're beyond that, Austin, in your experience?
I think you're beyond that after a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the two of us, we're she's been through a lot. I don't want to speak for her, but we've both had experiences in our past that's shaped us to who we are now.
As we all do, yeah. That's
Right,
great.
and so yes, we've made it work, and right now we haven't really hardly had anyone over to the house. Steve hasn't been over except for to help move some stuff from my apartment.
I was over
when
there.
I first moved in, and that's the only time that he's been over, and Jake's been over only I think a couple times, and it's not that we don't necessarily want people over. It's just when we get home, there's rare occasions where we're home together.
Yeah.
Because she's a professional photographer. So, this fall has been slammed busy. She's had, at least 2 or 3 different weekends where she's had photo shoots. And, she had another one this past weekend with, her newly born niece. And, where she goes back to her parents' house to take care of that. Going back to her parents' house to get some things and,
does
just
that fit
doing this and
into-
the other. And
How does that fit into your schedule?
a lot of times I work.
Okay.
So a lot of times she'll tell me, hey, I'm planning on going home this weekend. And, say, okay, well, I work such and such, because I don't, me getting a weekend off used to be rare.
Sure.
Now I've lucked out a whole weekend,
Yeah.
and now I'm lucky that I have a store leader that really believes in that family life, work life balance, that we rotate weekends off. So I'm actually off after today for the whole weekend.
I think it's fantastic.
And it worked out that I can have this whole weekend off for the Polar Express trip and everything. And I had originally written my schedule in to be off tomorrow, but then still do a half day Saturday and end up working 6 days because we have another manager who's on vacation this week. And I did that just because, right,
Yeah,
and
that
and
always
I
happens, jeez.
right, and I have no problem working 6 days, and Kathy understands that because she's come from the restaurant business.
Yeah.
She's managed various restaurants. She worked for Ruby Tuesdays for 10 years, and has worked at various locations and ran various locations and things like that. So she understands that aspect. You got to do what you got to kind of do.
That, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
hit a couple common things with Austin on that. Nate, did you have something? I'm sorry. He wanted to comment on what you were saying.
Well, I think one of the things that you're starting to touch on is something that I had prepared for this is, obviously when you're talking about making it work, all of us, we have schedules where our significant other and our schedules don't always mesh together, except there are times when we do get to spend time together. There are some times where you want to rest and do your own thing now that you have your time, but what's the talk about the importance of when you do get time together, like what do you decide to do? Do you do your thing?
sit on the couch and make sure it doesn't rent out the house.
But what if
Yes.
that's not what she wants to do?
Yes.
Like that's what
It's what she wants to do.
Yeah, it is,
Okay.
it is what she wants to do.
Well,
she
ask her
tells me all the
basically.
time. I don't know about you, but
I don't know.
But
Nate,
then,
what do you think? No, you're asking the question. They're saying do what she wants to do, right? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
but I'm really
yes
I'm,
and no.
I'm pretty easygoing, so I'm typically cool with whatever she wants to do, which is probably sit on the
Right.
couch and watch a TV show, which
Or take the kids
can,
and do something.
can be rare, yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Or kids, or it's usually kids, family, or some TV, whatever.
when I was a cigar rep, I left the house Monday morning at about 8 o'clock, and I didn't come home until Friday, usually between 8 and 10 o'clock at night. And then Saturday, what did I want to do? I wanted to spend Saturday hanging out at the Tinderbox. Not necessarily working, but hanging out there, smoking cigars, hanging out with the guys. That's not necessarily something my wife wanted to do. But if something I want,
Correct.
so that's what I'm getting at. Like the balance between doing what you want to do, what they want to do. Whether what you want to do is rest or they want to rest, but you want to do something else. Like that balance and the importance of having an understanding significant other.
I was going to say that it's there's a mutual respect that's needed there. And I mean, so for those of you viewers that I'm flat out say it, see you, Kyle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kyle.
Check out his pictures when we
Bye,
post
Kyle.
them. Amazing work, also for hire.
Kyle B. Smith Photography, right?
That's right. But I mean, so there's some viewers out there that don't have a significant other, and I think there's a lot of valid points here. Or kids. I don't have any kids. I mean,
no, it's I will
it's
say
awesome right now. I mean, I don't have any kids. I mean,
Right? Yeah.
there's two people. Yeah,
So much
all right,
money.
calm down.
All this money I have.
First of all, I do also want to say Alan Wallace out there has got jokes for days, and I love it. I'm not going to say the last one because it might offend some mother-in-laws, but I will say one because he sees all your Boston stuff. There was a Boston joke. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it. Yeah,
You want to hear it? What do you call 40 millionaires around a TV watching the World Series? The Boston Red Sox.
Boston Red Sox this year. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all
this
good
year,
fun.
of course.
This year,
What about last year?
Not every year.
Yeah.
Not every year.
What happened
that's
last
for sure.
year? Did they win
Yeah.
last year, or were they out? I
Cubs-
can't remember.
Cubs too,
I can't
right?
remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they won.
I want to throw out. So Alan's watching, and we have a lot of other people watching. So, but I want to say, there's something with not having the significant other. There's still a balance. But as far as to your question, Nate,
Yeah, what do you want to do? Like, I can answer that pretty straightforward. When I'm not working, like pretty much every Sunday,
yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to relax.
Yeah,
But if relaxing is hanging out at a birthday party for one of our 7,000 nieces, I'm down with that.
7,000. That's a lot of nieces.
Nephews, actually.
That's a big family, regardless.
She has a big.
Right.
She has a big family. Mine's small, but I want to do whatever. I have no. I don't know the way to put it. Like,
So-
I want to be with
I'll-
her.
I mean, I'll
and I want to
kinda-
be with the kids. I want to do whatever is.
I want to say something here,
Important, yeah.
because I was, I had a great relationship with my ex, and it didn't, obviously, I don't want to say, how do I say this? We are divorced for certain reasons, but there were a lot of times where there was a lot of stress with that, because it was one of those things that when it came down to it, when we had the free time and all that stuff, it was we didn't I would say we didn't communicate necessarily as well as we should have. So then it was, she had her idea of what to do on that time off, and then when I had the shared time off, I was more of the person that I didn't have a plan, so then I would just go with it.
Right,
But over time,
that's me.
over time, that's not a balance. Just like anything else, I think that was something that wore on me a little bit. It was like, all right, so now on my days off, my time is still basically spoken for, and at some point, you can be the greatest person where it's always family and friends first and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I will say that at some point, Nate, to answer your question, it's not just necessarily what she wants to do, what he wants to do, whatever it is, your significant other, but it's got to be something where it works. And there's got to be something where
There's got to be a balance.
I can
there's got to be
backtrack-
communication.
I can
You
backtrack.
guys, both Austin and Dustin, you guys actually both talked a lot about, to me, what hit home to me was that you guys, you communicate about what's coming up. You figure things out as they're coming.
She does. I'm horrible at communication.
How do you?
I'm not the
how do you
greatest
say
at either. I'll admit that.
absolutely
and Kathy
horrible.
will tell you that.
But if something comes up, like if my buddy texts me 2 weeks out, say, "Hey, I want to play paintball next Sunday," I'll tell her as soon as I get the text, like, "Hey, he wants to play paintball 2 Sundays from now."
What are we doing in 2 Sundays?
Yeah.
That's part of the conversation.
Are there any birthdays coming up? Like, because we have so many.
I have to do that. I think
Nephew,
this
like-
Monday I'm scheduling a meeting, and it's my day off. But
Yeah.
I'm scheduling a meeting, and I texted Liz and said, "Hey, what were we doing on Monday?" She's like, "I'm working, but like I got to do this." And I was like, "I
Right.
could have sworn.
I'll get the
Think about this hard. What are we doing on Monday?"
I'll get the
Like,
update from
yeah.
her because I can't remember all the birthdays in the family. So I'm like, "Is there a birthday this weekend that we're doing?" Like, otherwise, I'm going to go do X and X with my buddy.
Liz
We're
put up a calendar
we're
in the
yeah.
kitchen, and I was like,
Exactly.
"Why do we need like this? Like, get this out of here! Like, I don't want a calendar hanging up on the wall." Like, I've got an iPhone. Like, we can share a calendar and all that stuff.
We
She's
tried
like,
that. It didn't work. So I think the calendar in the kitchen
Now
is
she's
not a bad
writing like the
idea.
recycling days on there and all that stuff, and then we still miss them. Then
Either way, I'm pretty
easy.
easygoing on my days off. Like if it's summertime, it's Sunday. I'm probably mowing for like 3 hours. So after
Sounds
that,
like a nice lawn, by the way.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Pretty big
mow.
yard.
Like, damn.
Yeah,
Good
until
for
we
you.
sell it. So
Good for you.
it'll be on the market in a few months.
I know,
Interesting.
like, to kind of go back to Nate's question, I know, like, when I have a day off, and, like, for example, this weekend, we've got plans tomorrow to take Cadence up to Akron for the Polar Express, and, Saturday we'll be coming back down, and we had already talked about, she said, I want to take Cadence to go see a movie. We love taking her to a movie, and she loves going to the movies, and I said, well, absolutely. I'm off, so yeah, let's do it. Because,
Sure.
When I work throughout the week, I don't get a whole lot of time to spend with, both of them, let alone even, Kathy or even just Cadence. And then Saturday, she's like, let's just be lazy and have a family day. I'm like, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, sounds great.
And, it's one of those things, like you said, Steve, it's sacrifices. Normally if I was off, like on a Sunday, I would probably go hang out at the shop. Most
Yeah,
likely.
but that was your relax day. That's the same
That was
thing.
it was my relax day. It's
Your
the same thing.
priorities have shifted.
That's right.
Oh yeah, if
And
you're single, yeah.
Your social circle, more importantly, I would say, not only maybe not more importantly, but more in the forefront is that your social circle has changed. Your circle of friends, of who you're closest with, has shifted.
Oh yeah,
So,
Yes and no.
it's going to shift. It's going to shift a lot
absolutely,
more
yes,
too.
Because before
gonna shift a lot more.
they were in the picture, that was when you go up to Tinderbox. Now you still want
Right.
to do that, and that's where again there's a balance. I encourage you and encourage everyone to have that time alone or whatever. But I will say that that your social circle, your tight knit social circle, has two big new players that
For sure.
did not exist.
right. So and they come first, absolutely. But when it comes to your circle of friends, I still have friends that I communicate with when I can, and I've fallen off that wagon of communicating with them, and I feel terrible about it because I haven't talked to Steve and Jake or anyone else for that matter as much as I once used to, and that hits home for me because one, I don't want to lose that friendship. Not saying that I would by any means,
Yeah.
but I still to this day look at the two of you as two of my closest friends.
Sure.
And I always will. And if I have the opportunity to go hang out at the shop, then I'm gonna take it. It doesn't happen anywhere near as much as it once did.
Yeah.
But I do see that happening down the road, hopefully. Maybe if, knock on wood, I get a promotion somewhere, my schedule changes, or who knows, maybe I get a gig somewhere else and my schedule changes to where I have maybe a little more free time, or my schedule's a little more set. It could be that I have those opportunities. But right now, with everything that's going on and how fluctuating my schedule is, I take advantage of having those moments that I get with the two of them because even on the
Yeah.
days that I close, I get up early and I help get Cadence's lunch packed and get her breakfast and stuff like that. Help Kathy with all of that, and Kathy goes and gets her ready for school, and I get the truck going and everything and take her to the bus, and I have that time in the morning with her, but that's it.
So
I
how
leave
do
for
you-
work
I
at
mean,
1.
All right. So where do you take time for yourself? Let me ask you this. I mean, like I think it's all
Thursdays.
this is amazing. So this is it.
Yeah.
This is it all
This
week.
is-
This is your time.
This is my day out of the week for
It's fair.
myself,
and that's enough for you.
for the most part.
For now.
I
It might
I
change,
make
though.
that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
might
curious.
change,
Yeah,
but
it might
it's
change.
I make that work. Like we said, I make that work because throughout the rest of the week, Kathy's taking care of Cadence, and doing all of that and being a mother. But when I'm off, I want her to not feel like it's all her.
I get that.
So that's where
So
when
you're-
I have.
your priorities are
fact.
obviously that right now. I mean,
Right
I'm
now,
sorry.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I mean, like,
No,
I
it's-
think it's amazing. Like all this, I was curious of like, Do you think that's going to be always the case? Austin, you're further down this path. I mean, are there times where you have your time, where it's just you? I mean, I see you, and maybe I've seen you around town, right?
I had my time today. I got off, 4 o'clock from work and went 8 at Fido, and you saw me there.
Yeah.
I'm here tonight. I take off. I put some hours in for work, but this is my time. But as far as Sunday, if Sunday comes up, like, I'm content at staying home. Like,
I think it's great
there's no
for both of you guys.
There's no desire to go out, but we need our time together too, as far as like the date night, because we have kids. Like, date nights are few and far between.
It's got to be tough.
So like this Saturday, this is our date night. Every third Saturday of the month, like, we're going out.
Yeah.
And you have to make that time. It's sacrifice.
You schedule it though, right? I mean, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, I'm every third Saturday, she's off at work, so I take that evening off, and we're going to go do something. It's Ocean Club or Top Golf this week, it's whatever. But our situation is different because we have kids,
Right.
Yeah, I think the other side of it is
hectic.
we're still, obviously, you're still young in the whole thing, and so we don't have someone to watch Cadence
Yeah, find someone.
right now. Well, and I'm not
got
just
family around.
That's
right.
how it works.
I have
You
family
gotta
around.
You got to make it
and
work. Right?
So, and that's where it takes me talking to Kathy about it, and because it's been just the two of them for
Absolutely.
4 years. So
yeah,
you
you
take
gotta
just,
find
just the
somebody.
two of them, and,
Her
and
parents
not,
are around though, right?
they are, but they live down in Logan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or
So
you pay somebody. Like,
yeah.
it's good. Yeah, it's going to be important down the road.
I'm not disagreeing.
That's what I was waiting for. Honestly, that's what I was leading down that path.
And I think down the road we will get to that. I think right now it's I don't want to say strenuous with it, but
All right, so
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
don't know.
evolve, and I think that's a big
Yeah.
part of this. So, that's why also I like the dynamic between you two, because you got someone that's been doing this with kids, and you're in retail, Dustin.
Yep.
And you have a significant other that is kind of freelancing, so the schedule's always changing. But I like what Austin has said is that, is at some point it's going to be important. Making it work, I guess that's the point, is that making it work is going to continually change.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier.
It doesn't get easier. And it doesn't matter if you have, like, I don't want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it doesn't matter if you have kids, if you
Right.
or you don't. Everyone has to go through that. So that's where, for me, it's if you're in a relationship, if you're by yourself, whatever it is, like, you have to prioritize your time, because I don't care who the significant other is. I mean, sometimes it's work and it's your personal life, and one is getting in the way of the other. But I think that's something that you have to constantly balance to a point that you have to give yourself enough respect that you do put yourself first. And that is in no way disrespecting the people in your life, whether it be friends, family, your significant other, your kids. But if you don't do that, I know from my experience that if you don't do that, you're going to get to the point where you have ignored that part of it, and it'll be a bad situation, whether it be temporary or permanent. But I'm not saying that's all based on my personal experience, but it's also my personal experience with other people.
Yeah.
When you are on the go, when you're always putting other people first, when it's work, and then you get home, and it's all. It's there's movies, there's books, that's been going on for fucking centuries. Is that if you do that all the time and you're putting everyone else first, at some point you wake up, look in the mirror or whatever, and you're like,
something's got to give.
who the hell am I anymore? Because all I'm doing is doing everything for everyone else. Like, you have to prioritize your time and yourself to make it truly work. In my opinion, is to actually say, I matter also, and so that's that. I think Nate was saying, like, it's that communication, it's that mutual respect that the other person in that relationship or at that business or whatever it might be, that they're going to say, what do you want to do?
Right. Yeah.
And you better fucking have an answer.
Right.
Because if you don't have an answer, it's
Sounds like my
because
wife.
if you don't. No, I'm saying if you don't have an answer, that means that you haven't even thought about it.
Right.
And at some point, you will think about it. Or you're going to be like, God, I'm just run down.
Exactly. That's where she'll hurt herself
ahead.
sometimes. She's a very giving person, and she won't think about herself or go out. Like, ask me. Like,
That's how my
hey,
fiance is.
Yeah, like,
She puts everyone else before herself.
I'm like, we'll get a sitter just so you can go out. I'll be at work that night.
Yeah.
Get a sitter just for you, so you can
I think that's huge.
Go out with your girls because that's just important.
Right.
Time to yourself is just as important as time with us together. So,
and I think the other piece of it is, we've talked about having your, your board of directors in a sense.
Yeah,
you
from
gotta
previous
have that,
episodes, absolutely.
right. You got to have that circle of friends that you can go and do stuff with. And I feel bad, for Kathy because she doesn't necessarily have that circle of friends here in Columbus. She came up from
interesting point that you say that.
So,
that you guys, the family unit is the board of directors,
yeah.
right? And it is, and it's it's between us, and so I do everything I power to try to push her to do things, and for herself or anything like that. But it doesn't always work because she's that kind of person that just always puts other people before herself. She does stuff for her parents all the time, which
you gotta force her.
I want to say that Avi just said this is, I think, a great metaphor for those that are following along on Facebook Live. Guys, just like they say on the plane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then your child and others. Take care of yourself. It's not a selfish thing. That's a huge point.
It's a very huge point. And I've been more and more, especially here lately, just thinking of, I want to refocus on myself. And it's not because, I don't care about, the other two. It's because, I want to make sure that I am the best version of myself that I can be, one for me, but most importantly for the two of them.
Yeah, it's trickle-down effect.
Right, and that's where this is, every Thursday is kind of my relaxation kind of deal. And, in a sense, but, at the same time, we're producing something. And, I don't mean it to sound like it's work, but it kind of is in a sense, but it's our way of enjoying the things that we enjoy and providing that kind of product for others to enjoy. And I get great satisfaction out of that because, we're giving something back. We're giving something back to the cigar community, to the whiskey community, and
anyone else out there.
And anyone else out there.
I'm
if
in
you
the
don't
service
smoke or
industry,
drink.
so I know it's you get gratification from that, like giving so much.
Right, and but at the same time, it's something for me as well, and so I'm still working on that piece of getting her to understand that she still has to take care of herself, and I've heard her, and I'm not trying to by any means throw her under the bus at all, but she's come to me with things and concerns that she's had with herself, and I'm like, you need to take care of yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we love our daughter more than anything in this world. We would, die for her. We would kill for her. Whatever we got to do. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to take care of ourselves too.
Absolutely.
And if we can't take care of ourselves, then how long are we going to be around?
That's where that night out comes in. Like sometimes you have to force that
through the times that she's going to go through, not just in a physical health, but in a mental health state too.
I want to say, Bobby's out there. Bobby Hirschman, he's been supporting the podcast for a while. He's making some comments, which I love about this. But he says, I thought this was a bourbon and cigar show. So for those of you, I got Sean here in the audience. So that is the part of this. For those of you listening, it is a cigar and bourbon show, but the thing that we always do differently, and whether you like it or not, and you can tune in for the first part, you can tune in for the second part of the whole thing. We do actually have the topics where the life topics are more of the cigar. For me, it's more the cigar shop, but also a little bit of the bourbon side of it, where when you actually sit down over a cigar, you sit down over a whiskey, you start talking about life, and that's exactly what this is, and that's the design of the show. So, Bobby, I appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue doing it. It's one of those things that this is the second part of it where we have the life topic, and not everyone's going to relate all the time to everyone, but I mean, for the most part, I want to say that it is entirely up to you guys as listeners and viewers, that if you want to tune in, tune out, whenever you want to do it. We appreciate the support, and we hope you get something out of it, whether it be the whiskey, the cigars, or the life topic, or all three, or two out of the three. But Sean, who's in our audience in the garage right now, has a comment or a question.
He's ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. It's my second week on with the podcast, and I'm a huge fan already. But
I love that.
The just about marriage and spending time with your spouse. I've been married for over 18 years.
Here we go.
With my wife for over 20.
Yeah,
well, sometimes I win, sometimes I but I think what I was going to bring to the table was the fact that over years, with your kids, you'll get to see this. All the kids that don't make friends in the neighborhood, kids start showing up, and all of a sudden you're hosting a sleepover last minute, and all of a sudden that becomes, that was going to be my wife, my wife's time to do something, and then it's all of a sudden
date night, right?
Yeah, and then that just gets shot, and so you have to roll with the punches. But I guess the one thing that her and I do is sometimes can just be a simple thing, and sometimes it has to be on the fly, especially with people showing up, like you said, out of the blue, and now all of a sudden you're going to have a family night, and now all of a sudden she's got her friends coming over. My daughter, that is. We'll go out and have on Sunday or Saturday mornings, just go out and have a cup of coffee on the back patio and just talk. If it's just a matter of for a half hour, 45 minutes, it goes a long way.
That's a date night right there.
That's I mean, just over time, you just start to you start to see that just the little things mean a lot more to you than just even going on a date. It's just like, I don't know, but in our neighborhood, Steve, we have these trails. Her and I go on our walk our dogs.
Yeah.
And it'll just be a matter of talking about life in general. And you never know what subjects you're going to bring up, but I think that's where we become closest and keep our relationship strong with so much that happens and so much that gets in our way that to me that, and to her I know too, it means a lot. So it's not always
go out on a date night.
Yeah, I mean, God knows I'd love to do that.
Crashing the town, that's good every once in a while. But and taking the walk or the coffee on the porch, that's just as important.
Yeah, and you just kind of go with the flow with it, and I think
just like everything else, it evolves, right? So going out to the movies, going out like younger or whatever, or newer in the relationship, going out for drinks or dinner and all that stuff. Hell, I mean, we're at the point now where we went out to dinner on Monday as a date night because Liz was saying she feels like we haven't really had a chance to do that. I was like, yeah, no shit, we haven't had a chance to, and we don't have any kids or anything like that, but it's like we haven't. And so we go out to dinner, and it's the first snowstorm or whatever on Monday here in Columbus, Ohio.
It always rains on our date night. Always.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't take that as a sign. I'm saying that we're driving out there, and we get there. There's 5 tables in this restaurant that actually have people at it. You know what I mean? And so it was nice enough that we came back here. It was nothing crazy, and we came back here, and then I posted something on the community page after we split. I mean, and this is not for everyone, especially with kids, but we split like 3 bottles of wine, and then she poured me a whiskey.
Half a piece. That's fine. Yeah.
Poured myself the whiskey I shouldn't have poured myself, and it was a great date night. And it changes as you go. And when there's other responsibilities, you can't have that. Obviously, it's just going to happen. And I like that, Sean. That a cup of coffee. You don't even have to have a nice evening, like a nice sunrise or anything like that. It's like literally just sitting in the kitchen or even standing in the kitchen talking in the morning over a cup of coffee.
You two, no kids, nobody else. Yeah.
Yeah, you learn
that's
to enjoy
important. It is important.
And and again, it shouldn't take kids to realize that, because that's going to be something that I think everyone, whether it's with yourself, again, I think that's a point that we've missed a lot. Not missed, but haven't touched on as much tonight is that, and that's what I was trying to get across, was that it is absolutely, again, building yourself up at the core so that you can be there for the other people. That's a reoccurring theme on a lot of these podcasts, is that you can't put everyone else first because you will lose yourself. That's something that before the kids, before marriage, you're engaged, whatever it is. But at a certain point, we talk about it when we had an episode, I think, a while back where it was something where you're trying to be there for someone else, or you're trying to date, or you're trying to find that person. If you're lonely, or you're struggling, you're dealing with your self-doubt and all that stuff. It's like you fix that before you actually put yourself out there, because if you don't, then you're not putting yourself out there. You're actually putting yourself as what you want someone else to see, and that's temporary, and that's going to happen in relationships as well. I mean, that's where I mean, I know in Franklin County here in Ohio a few years back, we had one of the highest divorce rates in Ohio, if not further beyond Ohio. And that's a big part of it, is that you don't spend enough time, you don't communicate, and you don't put yourself first when it matters, and that's not always. I'm not saying that. It's not always that you put yourself first. It's something that you if you want to smoke a cigar, there's there's plenty of people that they smoke cigars, they drink whiskey, and I'm not talking to excess. I'm not talking that they're just getting blackout drunk all the time, or they're like burning through their budget on cigars. I'm saying there's people that want to sit down on a patio or with friends or by themselves and smoke a cigar, and then they're like, you know what, I'm going to stop smoking cigar because she or he doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's
what's the sacrifice?
Yeah, it's
there?
right. It's right place, right time. Like I say, like
there's
on
a
a Sunday, I
compromise there.
have no desire to go out and smoke a cigar at a bar. Like I can grill out in my house, and smoke a cigar, and have a bourbon or a beer or whatever.
Still a cigar and bourbon, I noticed in this
But
scenario.
but the wife is there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The kids are there. I can still play with the kids, but the dog.
Yeah, the point is that they're still you. There's still you
Yeah,
there.
so I'm still involved.
That's
I'm still,
my point.
It's compromise. Yeah,
that's my point.
I'm with the kids, but I'm still having myself time too. You know,
It's something I want to point on, and I want to thank you for sharing.
is there a bathroom break coming up soon? Because I got to pee.
You missed it, but go ahead.
Oh, I
Just-
missed it.
Go hit it real
Go.
quick. We'll have you
You
come
sure?
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
But something I want to touch on, and I love your point of even if it is just half an hour, 45 minutes, having a coffee. Something I didn't even really think about or put two and two together. But there's days even when I close, I don't have to go in until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or even when I'm off. We take Cadence to school during the week, and we'll come back and it's 8:15 in the morning. We'll sit down and just have a cup of coffee, and we'll just sit at the counter of the bar and just sit there and drink coffee. And it's just kind of our time together. And I never really put that together. And
So you didn't even realize it.
I didn't even realize it, and until you made your point, and I just had the thought, and over the time I've been thinking, when can we have some time where it's just the two of us, because ever since we moved into the house, we've not had that once.
Yeah. And I tell you,
because
again, it doesn't have anything to do. It does have something to do with kids, but it's the other priorities, that
right?
and
Cadence is in dance too, and she's on the competition dance team, so she has rehearsal 2 nights a week after school. And if I work, I work. If I'm off, I'm off. And there's some days where if I'm off, I'll go with them to dance, or if I'm off, say, hey, I was going to run some errands, and do you? I'll ask, hey, do you care if I, just go to the shop?
Communication again.
I'll ask, hey, do you care if I go to the shop? And more times than not, she's like, yeah, no, I don't care. Or there's some times where she, hey, I was kind of hoping you would go with us, because I don't get to go with her, too often to go to rehearsal. And so absolutely, I'll go, and especially if it just so happens like this past week, I was actually off on Tuesday, and it's her longer night of rehearsal, and only select dates they have like the curtains and the windows open to where you can actually see the girls dancing and rehearsing. So it was a great opportunity for us as parents to see her practicing and rehearsing for all of these. And so I was thankful to actually be there and be able to see her go through everything and see how well she's doing. But at the same time, maybe the next time that I am off during the week, and she's at school, I'll just, instead of driving back to the house, and just drive and go get breakfast, and it'd just be like a date day, breakfast day. At the same time, we have a lot of stuff we want to get done at the house, but you got to be able to make time for yourself. And I've stressed that, and I give Kathy huge props, because over the last week we've made a lot of big strides on getting things done that we've wanted to get done.
Take whatever you want.
I've built a big shelf down in the basement for us to store a lot of stuff in. I was pretty proud of that and my engineering skills when it comes to that. And so she's was able to go through a lot of things, get some things cleaned up in the garage so she can actually park at least a vehicle in there, and if not two, hopefully here soon. And
Two. You gotta get both in there.
It's a 2-car garage.
Yeah, unless you have a podcast in your garage. And if you have a podcast in your garage, it's never going to be two unless...
It's gonna be
Yeah.
You make something
A
work.
bike, maybe.
Yeah, make it work.
You make it work.
Yeah,
You
make it work.
Yeah.
Make it work.
So,
Make it work.
So back to the Patreon thing. If you guys want to support a studio that we can move into instead of my garage.
Well, I got to bring 3 bottles next time, or what? I mean,
No, you actually.
You did fantastic.
Amazing.
You did amazing tonight.
I think
yeah.
like Dustin. I think
But-
this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, but I'm really sorry, brain fart, Sean. Yeah, but to Sean's point, I think it's a great thing. Even if it is half an hour, 45 minutes, you take advantage of that. And we've been doing so. And there's times where Kathy said, I feel bad. And we come back and all we do is just sit there and drink coffee. And we don't get things done that we wanted to get done. And I straight up looking at her, I said, but we need those times. We need that.
Goddamn right.
And I know that we have a lot of stuff that we want to get done, and I tell her time and time again, like, we will get it done. We will make it work. We will make it happen. It will get done. And I tell her that all the time, and I mean that. I don't say it just to say it and make her feel good. I say it because I mean it. And she has moments where she goes, I don't want to hear that. Well, but we will, because I have faith in it and I have faith in us.
That's
because
a good conversation to have.
It's gonna happen, and I know it will. And so I think taking advantage of those times, even if it's going to go get brunch somewhere, the local diner, or going to Easton, North Star, or Bob Evans, or whatever it may be, and you make it happen, you make it work.
do I have to smoke that one?
No, go ahead and smoke whatever you want.
Don't go to brunch.
So
Don't go to brunch. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I love.
I hate
brunch.
you brunch people.
No, you know what I like about brunch is Bloody
Yeah,
Marys.
You don't have to cook it. You're fine.
Oh, yeah, but
Or-
that's
or
good
mimosas.
employment for you, by the way. You got to
not-
remember that you're in the business.
I
You know what I
know.
mean? We had a guy that worked at Fido Irish Pub next door to the Tinderbox, and he said the same thing. You just not jokingly. He literally in the middle of the day be like, "These motherfuckers they can cook at home. I don't know why they're coming into my place." And I'm like, EJ,
They write your checks.
this is your job.
Yeah,
like,
they write
if they
your
stop
checks.
coming in, you're going to be cooking your own meals at home,
Right.
and not know how to afford it.
Right. Exactly.
No, I think
We're allowed to bitch about it, but at the same time, it's
tell you what, we're getting to the point right now where I think let's wrap it up. Let's do some closing remarks. I want to thank again the sponsors for being a part of this. I still think there's going to be some changes coming up with Altadis. They're going through their own changes, which I can appreciate. But you might see some differences in the background. We're going to be hopefully having a little bit more steady sound. The mixer board that was donated from Nate. What was the church that did that? And we appreciate that.
Crossover Church in Grove City.
Crossover Church in Grove City. So they donated this to kind of kickstart us as we were going through a transition and really pushing this audio towards the video side of it, which I appreciate. And Bobby Hirschman, Crown Royal show coming soon. Yeah, absolutely.
We've not done a Canadian whiskey yet.
I will message you personally when this is going to happen. We have. Anyways. So sponsors. So Tinderbox at Easton, thank you for the Kristoff, which surprisingly I'm still smoking. The Kristoff Criollo. Glen Case makes a great cigar. If you have not tried a Kristoff, and you guys said you haven't smoked many of them,
I have not
Your
smoked
thoughts?
them.
it was my second. I loved
Thumbs
it.
up, thumbs down.
Oh, thumbs up.
Thumbs
without-
up for sure.
Thumbs
Thumbs up.
Without a doubt.
So thumbs up on the Kristoff. The Criollo is a great medium body blend. Again, Tinderbox at Easton, 15% off until next Tuesday night at close. If you come in the Columbus area, you will be able to get one or however many you want for 15% off.
Mention
that
the
we have in
podcast.
stock. Mention the podcast, Bourbon BS Podcast. Also, if you are elsewhere, which we know we have a lot of people in other areas, if you want 5 cigar minimum but 15% off, we ship about once, maybe twice a week, but typically once a week, so don't be in a hurry for those. But also, Altadis, again, thank you very much. I hope that we have some differences behind us soon with some signage. I love what we have going on in the garage right now. But I will say the Montecristo White is one of my favorite, and anymore it's underrated.
Yeah.
What it is. So if you guys have not smoked Montecristo or some of the big boys lately, message us or suggest what we should smoke. But there's some killer blends that are coming out, and part of it I got to say is what they're doing. They're being more creative. They're actually appealing to a broader audience with some of these blends. They're utilizing AJ Fernandez for
Yeah.
some of these blends. They're
I'm about to
using
mention
more
him.
Nicaraguan tobacco. They're doing some things that are unheard of 5 years ago. So,
Like
Altadis,
what?
thank you. Using Nicaraguan blends, they're using other blenders to do their stuff. they're broadening their scope from their level so that they are reaching a broader audience.
Yeah.
The issue is that, again, if you've got that name, talking about the Little Book, it's something that if they put Jim Beam on it, let me put it this way: there's a reason they didn't put Jim Beam on the front of Little
Possibly,
Book.
yeah. You could
There
be
is
right.
a reason.
You could be right there.
I could be. You're right. But thank you all to this for doing that. BS Cigar Company. We got the golds
So you
coming
were
back
right,
in the
but you
first
could
of the
be
year. Silvers are still available. Definitely check those out if you haven't. Austin, thank you very much for bringing
Yes,
the
thank you,
whiskeys.
sir.
It's absolutely killer. I never had these, and obviously we'll never have these again after this. So
My
this is-
pleasure.
This is
It was
a unique
This was
experience.
an awesome experience. For those that don't know me, which is everybody in this room except Steve, I'm very introverted, so I was really had some anxiety about the podcast. Like I don't talk a whole lot. Once the whiskey gets
You are
flowing.
a quieter guy.
Yeah, I am quieter. Once whiskey gets flowing, like came out of my shell a little bit.
love
It was a great experience. Like this is awesome. I'm listening to the podcast like on a daily on my drive to work. So best of luck to you, and you're welcome for the whiskey. Like I said earlier, it's what it's for. Don't hoard it. Don't flip it.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Yeah, it's
Share
what
it,
it's what it's
drink
for.
it,
It's
all that stuff.
it's corn juice. Like it's gonna come and go. Like just drink it, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Dustin, what do you got here? Close.
So, like we've talked about, just making things work. Austin, your story and everything. I think it's kind of a touch on everything as far as really making things work with working in the restaurant industry and being married and 3 kids and even me sitting here with our one child. I'm looking at you going, I don't know how the fuck you make it work, let alone myself.
Yeah, you guys should exchange numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
Just so you know, you guys should
Babysitters.
exchange numbers because in about a year or two,
you're gonna need some help. Probably
there's going to
Yeah.
be some texting
Some
going on back
yeah,
and
some
forth. No
advice.
disrespect to the women or family involved. This is how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like you said, Steve, we've had a lot of changes going on in the last 6 months with all of us, in my household, and
Yeah.
again, I wouldn't change it for anything. It's a lot going on. I take change and run with it the best that I can, and I know Kathy doesn't necessarily handle change all that well, and she told me that herself. But I do everything that I can to try to be that rock for her, and for Cadence to make it as easy and smooth as possible. That doesn't mean that it is easy or smooth at all, but at the end of the day, it comes down to communication. Like you said, Steve, and Austin, you touched on it too, and that's something that I personally, I have to work on myself too. I forget shit all the time, and I'll have someone who messages me, and
Sounds like me.
I'll read it, especially if I'm at work, I'll read it, and then I completely forget to respond and completely forget that they even messaged me, and then I feel like shit because I never got back to them about it. But at the end of the day, it's all about communication, making things work between you and your family and your friends.
You and your work, your friends,
and
whatever,
your
right?
friends. That's something I don't think we touched a whole lot on. Steve, you mentioned a lot of your friends kind of take the back burner, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you still have to go back to it. You still have to reach back to it, and I think I use that my every Thursday to be able to spend time with yourself and and Jake when he's here, and Nate as well, and everyone else who comes to hang out in the garage, and making new friends, like Austin and Sean, and anyone else who's here, and that's my time. And there's times I would love to have more time and go hang out at the shop and catch up with a lot of the guys there that I've built friendships with that I haven't talked to in a while, or maybe I make a quick stop in for something and you say hey to everyone, oh hey, gotta go, and back out the door.
Sure.
But it all comes down to prioritizing. And, right now, in the moment, it's, cadence.
Get
and
your priorities straight.
And I'm making it work. And that's just the way it is. And that's not a bad thing. And
absolutely not.
There will be a time where, we can be able to sit down and relax. I'll be able to have a time where I can go to the shop. And, I've had those conversations with Kathy, and, we've both said that we cannot wait to where we can have everything done in the house and, be able to just sit down and
build
relax.
Your own house. We'll exchange numbers. I'll give you pointers on how to build your own house.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to build our own house anytime
That'll
soon.
never happen when the house is done. That's never done.
Right.
By the way.
Yeah, but it's all about the communication and working together. You got to work together, and like you said, what do you want to do when you have time off? Whatever she wants to do.
No, it's a common goal.
Yeah. It is, but a lot of times what she wants to do is things that I would like to do as well. So
that makes sense.
And I love spending time with my family, and I cherish every moment that I can because you never know. Before I even came here, I left work an hour early so I can be at home and hang out with Cadence. And it was just her and I while Kathy went to parent-teacher conferences. And, and her and I had our own little thing. She showed me a dance, and I got, I videoed it so I could show Kathy. And it was just those moments that I could, share with her and, that I can have, of my own that I never really get to have a lot of times because I am working a lot. So, but at the end of the day, really make things work whether you have a significant other or you don't, or if you do and you have kids, make those work. But at the same time, you have to focus on yourself too. You got to make that time happen.
Yeah, based on what you said, I would say that I am not in the minority that absolutely hate change. Change is the fear of the unknown. There's a lot going out there. And I would say that as you guys and girls go through this, my closing remarks is, and I appreciate everyone listening, and guys, I appreciate you guys contributing to this podcast.
Yeah, don't fear change.
Well, yeah, you can say that all you want, but it's fucking scary. I'll tell you that right now.
It is.
So you got to make time for yourself. You got to make time for your mate, whoever it might be. You know what I mean? Make time for your family. Make time for your friends, because I gotta be honest. The friends were some of the people that were around you while you were finding yourself.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do that, it's Dustin, you mentioned something about the board of directors. As soon as you stop listening to the people around you and you stop including them into your life and all that stuff, and you got things figured out and all that stuff, don't neglect what got you there. And I'm not saying that to you directly, Dustin. I'm saying that to everyone else.
No, but it's a true statement.
But I'm not saying that, again, to you directly.
No.
I think it's relevant to a lot of people, is that there's a lot of times that the loneliness and the no time for yourself comes when you eliminate some factors that got you there. And that's a lot of things. That's business, relationships, and else, and otherwise. I want to say also one thing we didn't talk about. Make time for we talk about relaxation and all that stuff. Make time for sleep. Because going through all of this stuff, you can laugh at all you want. Laugh all you want.
I don't laugh. Sleep is very important.
If you
super
don't get
important.
enough sleep, you're not healthy. If you're not healthy, you cannot be there for anyone else. So making it work means, again, my
wife, when she hears this, she's gonna love you.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'll never meet her. But it's something that, and that's for both parties or everyone involved. It's something that I've learned that you have to not always put yourself first. I'm not saying that, but you can't put yourself last all the time. That doesn't work. It's short term. So that's, for me, making it work. Doing this podcast, I feel fortunate to have a significant other that supports it, and also supports having random people in our house every week. I mean,
for sure, yeah.
It's not normal.
Yeah, you got cigar smoke seeping in the house, probably.
Hey, calm down. It's not. Prove it. But I would say for the sleep part of it, is that it's also take care of yourself. I always preach that, is that you got to take care of yourself from a health standpoint.
Absolutely.
You got to sleep. You got to take your vitamins. You got to eat well. You got to exercise. You got to do all these things, because if you don't fit that in your schedule, and I don't care how busy you are, I got to be honest, you can fit everything else in your schedule, but it's one of those things that when when you talk about it, like I've seen a meme out there where it's something where, you know, oh, you don't have time to exercise, you don't have time to work out, but yet you can tell me about the last 3 seasons of whatever fucking show you just binged on Netflix in the last 2 weeks. I don't care what relaxes you. You got to have a balance there too.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I've been binging TV shows too. Anyways, it's something that my closing remarks is the balance, the making it work is include yourself, because I know that I don't always do that. I didn't in the past, and I've been really working on doing that going forward. And I think that's when you talk to people that are successful, is that especially people that are later on in their life or later on in their relationship, you know, that's the one thing that's missing from people that are constantly putting other people first.
All right, can I add something real quick? Because you just said
that's how this works.
Yeah.
And Bobby, okay, enough. Steve.
You said
Yeah,
about Bobby, binging on a TV show. So when we did new store openings, like I found this quote and I really loved it. I hang it up into, you know, new stores where we're training people. If it's important to you, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
If not, you'll find an excuse.
It's truth.
Working
it's
out,
right or wrong,
yeah,
but you'll do it.
Right. It goes back to your working out. Like you binged on this TV show. That was time for you to work out, but instead you binge.
Squeeze
so
it
if it's
in.
important to you, you'll
Do
find a
some
way.
push-ups on the
If
floor
not,
while you're watching the
you'll
show.
find an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
that's what you do. Nate does that. All right, guys. Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that listened this week, and also have been watching the Facebook Live as well as the YouTube video when it's posted. This will be live by the end of the weekend.
Saturday, Sunday or so.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week it'll be Wednesday on the 20th with Miguel from Crowned Heads. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
cheers. Thank you.